Dirty D.
That's Dirty D, the dirtiest dude around. He handles all of corporate America's dirty work.
Yo, Bad Bitty, how you be?
I'm bad, Dirty D. You're still dirty, I can see.
Let's deal, baby.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
And no Diddy, you understand what I'm saying?
What's going on? What's going on? I didn't really want to go live, but I guess I got a few things on my mind. Um, Occasionally I listen to other people that probably would probably lean more towards, let's just say, roasting. I listen to people that roast other people. I listen to people that are pretty much more an entertainment type of content, or even just, I guess, reactionary content towards other people's live streams. Sometimes I react to other people's content as well. I don't necessarily per se try to roast people. I've gotten into it with certain people, and some if most of those people are pretty much kind of, either we had an agreement that we just had a rough up or dust up, and then an admonishment, and people were cordial afterwards. um and then I had some dust ups where it's just people that just kind of just like to, they don't admit it all the time, but they just like to kind of get under people's skin. I get that. That's not even the worst person that I could say that is out there. The worst type of individual that I find is just extreme. It's kind of weird, but I understand it. But at the same time, it's like this is kind of tripped out, because it's like, it's some people that they like to dish out stuff. They like to engage in roasting, but they don't want to get roasted back. Sensitive ass, emotional motherfuckers. Like, I just, okay, nobody has immunity towards getting roasted. I've gotten roasted. Everybody pretty much have probably done something or said something online, and they probably got roasted before. That just comes with life, social media, whatever. Like, you gonna get roasted if you say something that, even if you look funny, know you gonna get roasted. That's YouTube. Like, that's social media. That's even off of social media. That's how that works. And the thing is that I think it's like a demonic spirit, I believe, because it's certain people that they can't they can't dish back, or their dish back is, I don't want you to roast me. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna try to do something to you, so you can not roast me, but I want to continue to roast others, and can engage in roasting, but you can't roast me. And I don't get that. Like, everybody can get roasted. Ain't nobody no king or fucking duke that you can't motherfucking say nothing about them. You gonna get your head chopped off. Like, I mean, nobody on here is like that, man. I mean, I know I joke and shit or say stuff like I'm the king. I be playing chess. It's just, it's just for fun. I am not a fucking king of any fucking thing besides whatever the fuck I feel like I'm the king of. But I ain't necessarily no king of YouTube or none of that shit, man. I mean, everybody motherfucking can get roasted. I am not. I don't have no immunity to getting roasted. And the thing is that I don't, even if I joke with people that getting roasted or whatever the case may be, even if people roast me, I can, it's like, okay, I can take criticism. I mean, to be honest, a lot of this channel, definitely the earlier parts of this channel, was me basically kind of low key roasting myself. I can not only take criticism, I give my own criticism towards the things that I, needed to work on, and I've worked on them, and I, overcame them, fortunately. But it's like, man, I mean, some of these people, man, that you come across, man, they is engaged, and they like heavy into trolling people, but then they don't want to be trolled back at all. They don't want to be roasted. They don't want to be cooked at all. And it's like, man, that's some crazy work right there. That's crazy work that you can roast other people, but no, you can't roast me back. Like that happens, man, a lot of times, man. That happens a lot of times in different parts of society, from the hood to the upper echelons. You got certain people that they want to get in the kitchen and they want to cook, but when it's time for them to get cooked, they don't want no parts of that. And it's like, why is you in the kitchen, motherfucker? You don't have to be in the kitchen. You don't have to be nowhere. You don't have to be engaged at any parts of any types of roasting or cook session or whatever. When I was younger, it was called catting. You don't have to engage in none of that. But if you do, just understand you gonna get roasted on. And if you can't take that shit, I don't know what the fuck you engaging in it for. Because I mean, when I come online, this shit is 100% entertainment. As far as when I'm engaging in other people's content, it's like fucking I'm watching motherfucking Netflix and I'm eating popcorn. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, you know what I'm saying, have any beef with anybody on YouTube or social media. I have not met nobody on here in real life. A couple of people I've talked to, in real life, but I have not met anybody. I ain't been to no fucking meetups, conclaves, none of that shit. And I know I really, to be honest, I don't really plan on it. I'm not really that social like that. But the thing is that is other people um come in good faith and stuff like that. I don't have no problems with that. But it's like, if you can't take no criticism, man, I don't know why you even involved in any type of like uh situations where you gonna be criticized, because it's like, man, I mean, why are you even bothering if you so sensitive that you can't take any criticism whatsoever? That's crazy. That's crazy work, and I don't know. I mean, it's just an observation of something that's just on my mind. Of course, this is something that's definitely happened. Um, and it's kind of funny, man, because you know people, a lot of people have other problems. Like it's bigger problems than uh a little. People. a lot of times when it comes to I'll say roasting or cooking or whatever, um, it really is okay. Like I'm gonna just say something that I was gonna talk about that is probably something I got to work on. Is going to be like a big presentation because it's something very very great. Um, I'm gonna have to make a nice little presentation and slides and everything like that. But one of the things that I came to understand and really it's something is like a light bulb type of moment is there's something called human competition. Okay. And with human competition, some of that it is people will even help you compete. Okay, for example, like a lot of the times, like I'll just say the last time that I probably you could say I got roasted. I got roasted. I'll tell you exactly. I don't know if I mean it was basically and the guy was and the guys most of the guys were younger than me. That's the tripped out thing. Like, but it's no shade to them for being. I mean, younger or old, it doesn't matter. If you're on a different level, which is a higher level, meaning if you're like, let's just say I'm a white belt, or a yellow belt, and someone is a purple belt, which is a higher belt, or let's say brown or black, because you probably noticed that. Like I'm talking about martial arts, right? Okay, if someone is a higher belt and they're telling you, oh, man, you should do this and you shouldn't do that, and why are you doing that, and then, kind of even joking with you, and even roasting you. I mean, it's two ways you could deal with that. You could be upset and be emotional, and you could like talk shit back or whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, obviously, I definitely was in martial arts, and I was in a lot of different things that had ranks and all that stuff. Even when I was younger, I was in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, so I understand hierarchies. And a lot of people don't understand that, or they don't like it. A lot of I would say it's not just a black and white thing. It's not that. It's humans do not like hierarchy. Um, Definitely don't like hierarchy. Men don't like hierarchy. Women don't like hierarchy. But I respect. I'm not that many people respect it, but I've learned to respect hierarchy because the thing is that I've achieved certain levels, and I understand people they don't respect it, and a lot of those people that don't respect me being above them, a lot of them people have very very severe problems in life. They damn near teeter on all kind of other problems where they might have to self medicate and all kind of other shit. Because the thing is that it is a thing called hierarchy. If a person has read, let's just say, someone has researched and read thousands and thousands of books on various subjects, or even let's just say one subject, that person is going to know more than you do about that particular subject. That is a fact. And especially if they not only just read that information and also research, they actually went out and applied it, what they read and researched in the real world or in real life, and actually has successes in that particular um, field or discipline that they've researched and studied on and read upon or whatever. That person knows more than you do about that particular subject. And a lot of people, they have a problem with people that actually do have a particular superior level of knowledge. It's so bad, right? I had to uh I had to post on my community tab the different levels of expertise, because you got so many people on YouTube that are, they'll pretend or they'll talk like they are subject matter expert in something. And it's like, what makes you a subject matter expert? Because you click the live button and you start talking? That doesn't make you a subject matter expert. I had to literally break down, okay, someone is either a beginner, or a novice. A novice is, okay, a beginner is like you just starting out with something. You don't really have that much intel on it. You don't have that much data on it. But you're starting to learn something. You're taking the first level of trying to learn some type of subject. Then you have a novice where they know a little bit about something, they've read upon it, they've actually done some things on that subject, they in real life have, actually done some things. Like, for example, a novice mechanic. Okay, a novice mechanic actually knows some fundamentals of a car, fluids and different mechanical parts of a car, how they work. They've changed some parts. Like, for example, I consider myself, pretty much kind of a novice mechanic. I've changed brakes, I've changed rotors, I changed a starter before. I've basically uh, installed a new parking brake before. I've changed out spark plugs. I've done a tune up, okay, on a vehicle, on several vehicles. I've swapped radiators on multiple vehicles of all different makes and models. I know my way around a car a little bit. I'm a novice. I've never swapped a transmission or engine before. Um, it's a lot of components I've not changed, but I've gotten down in the car. I've changed actually a ignition switch on a vehicle. Um, changed out a actual car seat. If you go to a junkyard, you get the part, you probably have to take it off, and then you got to put it back on your vehicle. Like, so I would consider myself a novice, right? Not an expert. Okay, an expert is somebody. Okay, he or she works in a mechanic shop. Most likely have done it for a living, or even if they haven't done it for a living, they've done it with their own personal vehicle, where they know the ins and outs of cars. They know basically how to read a manual and actually follow that manual. They have all of the tools that's needed. They know exactly how to work on that vehicle to the specifications of that particular vehicle model. They know different makes and models. Like, they really good with GMs. They good with um Dodges and Chryslers and domestic vehicles. Then you got some people, they only really are good with foreign vehicles. Like, for example, if you got a Benz or a German car, you got to know, you got to go look for I forgot the name of the actual brand. I think it's like Bosch. You have to go look for, like, certain emblems like Bosch, because you gotta go to a repair shop that primarily works on German vehicles, because it's some mechanics, they're good with domestic vehicles, but they're not good with foreign vehicles, or not even German vehicles. You know what I'm saying? You even might have certain shops that they're very good with, Japanese vehicles and maybe even Korean vehicles, but not German vehicles. So or Italian, like you got, it's a whole, it just certain people are certain expert. They have expertise in particular fields, or subjects, or disciplines, or whatever, or different, in the sake of cars, makes and models. Then you got some people that are so good and so much, they have so much expertise that they know how to repair both foreign and domestic vehicles of all makes and models. For the most part, they might not know how to work on a Tesla or something like that. Now, with me, I know I'm an expert in IT or computers. Like I can basically break a computer apart and put it back together better than it was engineered in the first place. That's what I'm an expert in. You know what I'm saying? Like that I have an expertise in basically computer repair. Okay. Um, and then after an expert, it's even it's levels to that. It's levels above expert. You could be a master at something, or a guru. Like that means like you way above an expert. You a fucking master at something, Uh and it's like, okay, the thing about the internet that's kind of tripped out. People do it in real life too, but it's like you can kind of cipher it out in real life a little bit better, because people will kind of look like a clown in real life, but on the internet, what a lot of people do is they'll argue with an expert or even a master of a particular subject, or discipline, or something of some type of field, or a skill set, and they could be a beginner, you know what I'm saying, um or no experience whatsoever, because like it's things below a beginner, meaning you have no experience and no understanding of that particular subject or discipline whatsoever. But the sake of, it's people that literally, because they have a channel and they feel compelled by their audience to know something, they'll argue you up and down as if they're a subject matter expert at something, just for the sake of them not wanting to lose face on their channel. I mean, it's like, or just even on the internet, just because they feel like they're gonna lose face, so they'll argue with experts, and they're not an expert at anything whatsoever. Maybe at best a beginner, or a novice at best, and they'll argue with experts. You know, um, it's a lot of people that don't like that. I'm definitely one of those individuals. Um, it's some people that absolutely hated that. Okay, they hated the fact that people would do that. Like, how dare you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what gall do you have that pretending? Because like that's the funny thing about the internet. I've done, I've talked about it before, where you can just turn your computer on and you can pretend. You could put on a cape and pretend you're somebody. You could, pretend you're, Batman by turning the computer on. You could put a Batman avatar on your account and then pretend you're Batman. Like, I mean, it just really kind of, it's kind of crazy, kind of a weird world. But yeah, like a lot of times, those people, a lot of times, those are the people that can't take criticism as well. The people that always got to be right. They they all, they're experts at damn near everything, and it's like, it just, it's just like, man, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I I just think that if you it's okay if you just, are not really into that mix or whatever, where you know criticizing other people and everything like that, because not everybody does that. But if you're in that mix where you're roasting people and trolling people, you better be able to take some criticism, because if you don't, you can I mean, because like, threats, you can threat some, if you're threatening somebody to, like, don't criticize you, it's like, okay, yeah, you can threaten everybody to get, try to get some type of immunity. So, but yet you want to keep, trolling and going back and forth with other people. It's like, yeah, okay. um yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, uh I don't know what world you in, but you know you you can't motherfucking expect somebody just gonna be, scared of you threatening people, and then you trolling people and roasting people. Like, man, you can get the entire fuck up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what kind of fucking crazy weird world do you live in, but I don't really give a fuck about what you talking about, as far as you threatening me and all of that type of shit. Because I mean, at the end of the day, man, I don't plan on meeting anybody on no internet or nothing like that. I mean, I have I don't even really, I used to say I'll fight someone and meet some, I don't even want to do all that, man. I'm too old, man, to be, fighting motherfuckers, man. I mean, I'm very capable of taking care of business, but I don't think that that's something that I should, that's not something that I'm, trying to indulge in, or bite. That shit is like, it's stupid, because the end of the day, man, like I say, most of the time I mind my own business, and stay in my own lane, and that's it. I mean, it's like, it just, I definitely roast, and I could take a roast back. But when it's like, you trying to do extra shit, talking about you gonna threaten somebody, man, get the fuck out of here, man. I mean, I just say it's hilarious, because it's just, yeah, people can't take that shit, man. They wanna dish it out, but they don't want to take nothing back, man. Going back and forth, people can't do that. But it's like, some of those people, they be the main ones trying to come at people. It be the main ones, trying to, engage in back and forth banter with other people, and it's like, it's like, their weaponry, I guess, is, I'm going, I'm going to engage it even further. It's kind of like, that's kind of what Israel really does. The state of Israel. That's what they do. Like, they'll go back and forth with you, and then they'll just up it up. They'll up it up a notch. They'll, you know, you could just, you could fucking fire off a missile at them, and then now they gonna fire off 1,000 missiles at your ass, man. They one of the things about Israel, what they do, man, they be on some like bully shit, man. Like, they really like some bullies. If you try to motherfucking, like, if you probably, like, I remember the Palestinians used to throw rocks at them. Them motherfuckers used to motherfucking fire bullets at them. They throwing rocks, the motherfuckers firing bullets. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that, man. Some people are deviant like that, man. You know, fucking they like that, man. And it's like when you dealing with people like that, man, you gotta understand, man, you dealing with a demon, a demonic spirit, you know what I'm saying? And it's it is what it is, man. I gotta call it how I see it. Um but at the same time, man, it's like, these people are absolutely losers. They not winning in life. They're absolutely miserable and they can't take no criticism. And the thing about criticism, the tripped out thing about criticism is when I was talking about human competition, a lot of times what criticism is other people kind of somewhat low key telling you kind of what you should do as far as a course correction and as far as um, something that you should probably do to better yourself. And a lot of times the fact is you probably already even know that you should be doing it, but you just can't take nobody else telling you that you need to be doing something X, Y, and Z. And you don't want to you don't want to be told what to do. You want you want to tell others what they need to do, but you don't want to actually do um you know what's needed to be done to better yourself. And here's the thing: companies don't grow if they don't listen to their customers. um companies companies don't grow if they don't listen to their employees, as far as like um certain types of advice, um certain types of even criticism, as far as certain things is done within the business. And it's like, if you don't grow, you happen you turn the way of Circuit City. You turn into WeWork. You turn into um any business that no longer is in existence, because you die. It just goes like that. Like, and you cannot even, I'm talking about business because I'm trying to relate it into something that has some high substance. But as a person, it's the same thing. You're not gonna grow. You're not gonna get any sales. You're not gonna get any new people to fucking give a fuck about you, to listen to you. You're not gonna get anything, because a lot of the times, like I said, this kind of goes into the realm of human competition. Sometimes people will help you by it might be kind of it might start off like a light banter, or not even a light banter. It might start off like, people telling you, okay, man, you should do this or you should do that. And then you don't do it, right? You don't really take heed, right? It's like, I think it's some producer. I think his name is Take Heed. Because I sometimes I hear some music and be like, Take Heed, fuck these niggas up. Like, it might be a different I might be hearing something totally different, might be totally different. But the thing is this, right? It starts like that, right? But then after that doesn't work, then things still get go downhill. And then now, here's where it becomes into, and it's still, see, a lot of times people don't look at it, like, people think it's just roasting, but it's actually not even 100% roasting, because some of these people are your peers, you know, and it goes into, you know, people kind of like making fun of you, but low key kind of telling you like why you didn't do this, like, you know, why, you know, and just kind of laughing at your downfall. But at the same time, if you really listen to it, like, it's like, why don't you do this still, man? Why did you do this that long, you know? Because I mean, like I said, that happened to me, you know, the young brothers on Citizen Lou's channel. I've been in IT support for way too long. You know, I'm you know, I grew gray hairs working in, you know, IT support, working in, you know, a fucking entry level job for like way too long, you know, and um you know, I got roasted, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's just, you know, I didn't take it like, you know, other people would have took that. I already know I've been in IT support way too long. I definitely have been, you know, I have tried for many years to get out of IT support. You know what I'm saying? It's an entry level job, and I know it is. Like, um, a lot of times it's rather difficult for some people too, but it's about experience. You gotta find a way to rise above, to get higher up the ladder. You know what I'm saying? Like, and and the thing is that, like I say, I'm not the type of person that, even if somebody is low key kind of, you know, laughing at my, you know, lower level or whatever the case may be, I don't really take it to heart like that, because I mean, that's just the type of person I am. I understand. I'm a very highly intelligent person, so I don't. And, you know, it wasn't like super bad or whatever. Like, it was very much in a situation where it's kind of like you in a schoolhouse and then you get bad grades. And the smart kids like, man, what the fuck you get bad grades for? What did you do? I just went home and, you know, I just, you know, did do my homework, and, you know, mom cooked dinner, and then I went to sleep, and then I just did that for a while, and, you know, I got bad grades. And then they like, dude, why you ain't do your homework? Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, why you ain't stay after school? Like, a lot, you know what I'm saying? All of these little, you know, little things, you know, and it's like, it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, they laughing at you, they roasting you, but they trying to figure out what the fuck you know, do what you did. It goes into human competition. What's going on, man? Never saw you before, but what up? I mean, it's a human competition thing, man, and it's like, if you don't take the signs, like you know, you might have a sister that be like, you know, you better do your homework. You know, your mama find out you ain't do your homework. You know, daddy find out you ain't do your homework. You know, you don't get in trouble. That's the first sign right there. You know, you didn't listen to your sister. Okay, then okay, you know, whatever. 3 or 4 months later, come by the, you know, progress report. You got the bad grades. You know, now your peers are laughing at you because you got your bad grades, and then they like, you know, why you, you know, they gonna call you, probably some people gonna call you dumb or whatever. They gonna, you know, roast you up, and then it's like, you know, some people will be like, why how you get bad grades? You know, your mama a teacher. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a valid ass question. Like, your mom's a teacher, how you get bad grades? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's an honest roast right there, and an honest question. But a lot of times, what people will happen, real sensitive motherfuckers, they gonna want to just steal on somebody. They gonna want to steal on everybody that's laughing at them and joking at them, and not understand. Okay, not look at the man in the mirror and be like, okay, these are these are the bad grades that I got. You know, they didn't assist. It ain't like these people that's laughing at me my quote unquote peers or classmates, it ain't like they took my books. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like some of the people that like in the civil rights days and shit, like the 1960s and 50s, those black kids that went to school during that time, I remember hearing stories and shit. Like some of them kids, man, the white kids would take their books and you know, take their book bags. Like it ain't like they did that. They didn't take my books or whatever, or you know, anything like that. They, you know what I'm saying? They didn't take my homework and burn it or anything. No, it was all me. It was what I did, right? So it's like in that example, I'm just saying, like, a lot of people are really, really sensitive and about it, and most people are. I mean, nobody wants to be, you know, embarrassed. It goes into, you know, a human emotion. Nobody wants to be embarrassed. You know, that's just a human concept. You know, um, nobody wants to be embarrassed, and I get it. But the outcomes of human competition is whatever that outcome is. It's a result of a lot of different other outcomes, you know. And like I said, it's part of human competition. I mean, you know, the thing is like, yeah, you could be like, man, yeah, I'm gonna find your IP, man. I'm gonna come find you and I'm gonna come and steal on you. Like, yeah, you could do that, but you know, you know what I'm saying? You gonna steal on everybody that make fun of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know, that cracks jokes. Like people crack jokes on the internet. That's what people do. You know, that's just that is definitely part of the internet. Like a random stranger could crack a joke on you. Go on Twitter. That's all. If you ain't ever been on Twitter, go on Twitter and get comfy in the comment section, and you'll find out real quick how that works as far as you know some utterly complete stranger, you know, saying some crazy shit towards you in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, now they even, you know, because they got YouTube, I mean, Twitter, they got Twitter Live, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, you know, they can do it, they can, you know, have back and forth, you know, banter with you on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like people getting their wake up calls on Twitter, you know. But like I say, is human competition. You know, I'm gonna definitely do some more context to really understand, to really break down the different forms of human competition. You know, one of the things that I'm dealing with, and you know, I've dealt with it for a long time, is racism. You know, or I'll just say even racial preference. I'm being in a predominantly white country, right? Or let's just say a very, very highly white influenced country, or influential country, right? White people have a lot of, you know, I've talked plenty of times about, you know, how much wealth and resources white people have in this country. And when it comes to, let's say, jobs, a lot of times white people prefer to hire other white people. That's just how that works. That's how. And what I'm saying is that a lot of people probably never broke this down enough in under, you know, in totality. I'm not sure. Maybe some people, but basically racism, or even racial preference, or even let's just say white privilege, is a part of human competition. You know, it is a part of human competition because when you if you're looking at your racial demographic or culture, you're trying to be competitive. You want to hire people that are like yourself, right? You know what I'm saying? That's just how that works. and it's it's frustrating with, let's just say, black people, right? Because black people, they don't really compete on that level. They don't. I mean, yeah, black people don't compete like that. Like African American, let's just say, um, African born Americans do not compete, do not practice racial competition or human competition like others do. And it is frustrating for me because I understand this. I have the brain wave link to understand and break this shit down in a level where it makes you understand that it's not just racism is just one form of human competition, or even, let's just say, racial preference is one form of human competition. It's other forms of human competition. It's, you have male versus female human competition. You have young against old, right? Everybody is, talking about the boomers, right? They keep talking about the boomers, the older people, right, in the silent generation. A great wealth transfer is among us. Baby boomers are getting older, they're retiring, and some of them are dying, and they're leaving these nest eggs, these retirement, these inheritance, not all of them, but some, and um they're transferring those to their children, or even family members possibly, or some of them are going to go to probate, and who knows where they're going, those assets are going to go to. So that's, young versus old is also part of human competition. Even you have human competition within particular races or cultures or whatever. You got black people versus black people. Some people say black people versus niggas. Which is kind of, let's just say, lower tiered black people, or if you want to say uh ghetto black people, right? Niggas versus black people, right? You got intercultural or interracial, um not interracial, but more, um yeah, or let's just say more or less, um not interracial, but inner INNER, interracial, conflicts. You got a lot of problems with black people, um and how they deal with other black people. You got problems with white people and how they deal. Every ethnicity have their own inner ethnic, um forms of racial competition. You know, you could even say, black people have a really bad problem with interracial competition, because a lot of primarily, let's just say, niggas, in the hood and in lower socioeconomic environments where uh, the economy is not as profitable. You got a lot of black people that will shoot each other over nothing. Over less than $500. Over a love quarrel or whatever. A baby mama. Dispute. So, um, gang violence, right? Actually, that's part of human competition to gang up. Like, humans. A lot of people don't probably believe in the ape theory or um the actual evolution of man from primates, but that's actually what primates do. Chimpanzees, they form, monkey troops, and then they go out and they deal with other um, areas where there's a different monkey troop, and they attack them, and then they'll basically cannibalize the monkeys they kill. That's an absolute fact. I study nature. That is one of the ways that you can get extremely, extremely intelligent. And me and my father, we used to watch the Nature Channel. We used to be dead quiet. That was one of the, like, I ain't really watch sports and shit with my father. I mean, we went to the baseball game. We had some like American traditional pastimes or whatever. Like I remember, going to the baseball game, going to the Sox game with my parents, my sisters, you know. Um, but watching TV, I ain't really watch sports like that with my dad. It wasn't like that. But I remember watching the Nature Channel with my father. Like I remember that like it was clear as day. Like I used to be sitting there watching National Geographic or whatever was on, and just sitting there quiet, watching the Animal Channel or whatever with my father. Just studying these animals and what they were doing. And the thing is that, yeah, like a lot of the behaviors of animals, very similar to how people act, how humans act. And one of those acts of ganging, joining gangs, and going to go fight other gangs, that's absolutely primate behavior. And it's a natural thing to want to be with other, like just to kind of have a posse or posse up. That's a natural thing that men do, is to form alliances with other men, and kind of for protection and for camaraderie, for various different ways. It's part of human competition. And the thing is that that competition is very, very, very severe with black people as well. I mean, we all know the story of the Crips and the Bloods, the BDs and the GDs in Chicago, the Vice Lords and the Blackstones and the Four Corner Hustlers, the Latin Kings, all kinds of different gangs, Mickey Cobras. It was a lot of street gangs in Chicago, and a lot of violence came from those street gangs, and it still do. There's different factions and all kinds of other stuff, offshoots and all kinds of different gangs. Now, some people just have blocks and all kind of stuff too. But the thing is that this is all forms of human competition. Okay, and they're very sensitive. They don't like, yeah, they ain't those gang members. They don't take no roasting or nothing like that. A lot of those people, they were, I used to watch some of the documentaries because I didn't know who King Von was until he died. I absolutely I know who Lil Durk was, and of course Chief Keef, because he was one of the first ones that kind of, from the whole O Block uh um project building. He was one of the first persons to take off. I mean, he pretty much, they say he's like the grandfather of drill music or whatever. But I didn't know who King Von was. I never heard of. I didn't I being an elite black man, or whatever I thought as far as myself being elite, I wasn't really into ghetto music, and I'm still really not into ghetto music. I'm not into it. You can't force that shit down my throat. Only thing I can say is this. When I was in high school, when I was younger, even in my early 20s, yeah, I listened to 50 Cent, I listened to Nas and Jay-Z and case I mean Bad Boy and Diddy and Biggie Smalls and all that, Tupac, you know.
And no Diddy. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, I listen to that. I mean, I will say one of the things that I do like about that era though, where it's unique, those dudes have way more class than your modern ghetto motherfuckers. The modern ghetto dudes, it ain't that many that are have some type of class to them. It's like, it just, to me, it's just no, it's hardly, it's like, okay, when I say Nas and I say Jay-Z, you talking about lyricists. I mean, yeah, they were saying, they were talking about selling drugs and shooting motherfuckers and all kind of stuff, right? I'm not gonna basically glorify and sugarcoat anything. I mean, but they actually read like they knew how, they read books, like they knew how to talk the English language, speak the English language. They actually shoot, Nas used to read a thesaurus and dictionaries and stuff like that and other books. While he was on tour, he was in the dressing room reading books, or on the tour bus reading books. Like, that's what some of the other rappers, that's what they said that they saw him doing. It just, a lot of other rappers, they knew how to rap. They actually had lyrics. They actually were saying some really, really remarkable poetic type rhymes. Like, now, I mean, a lot of this mumble shit, the mumble rap shit, like, a lot of this ghetto shit now is just not, it's just not quality. It's not like it. Them niggas was bougie. Jay-Z bougie. Nas, a lot of them niggas was like, they was like kind of bougie and ghetto at the same time. And it was like, it was a flare of class to them cats, where I don't see that with the modern the modern hood niggas now that's rapping from the South and various parts of the country. Like, I don't see that much of that. It's very few. Like, yeah, Future was raw. I give you Future. I give you Ti. I'll even give you Lil Wayne. you know um but the thing is, back then, a lot of your rappers had vernaculars. They knew how to rap, they knew how to flow. They had a class, a flair class to them. I mean, it was tripped out, because I could say, yeah, them some ghetto, all of them dudes sprung from the ghetto. But I mean, they knew how to rap. They actually knew how to basically flow poetically, rhymes on a fucking um on a track of music. Whereas today, it to me, it's just all ghetto, and I don't really like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's my opinion. But I mean, I say all of that to say that basically, I didn't know who King Von was, because a lot of that shit was just too fucking ghetto to me. And it was like unrefined. It wasn't no bouginess to it, wasn't no class to it. A lot of, and it's like, I ain't know who the hell he was. There's quite a few rappers that they got killed, and I didn't know who they were until they died. I just didn't really know of them like that. I didn't know it. I didn't know King Von at all. And then I listened to some of the music, and I will say, a lot of those guys that died or whatever, and I went back to listen to their music. Most, most if not most of them dudes, they were pretty good rappers. When I listened to King Von, I was like, okay, this dude did know how to rap. I just I was not aware of who he was. Okay, now I say all of that to say basically, um, basically it was a situation where they were beefing back and forth with other gang members, rival gangs on social media, and a lot of the gangs they have the same similar policy. They don't they not taking no criticism towards nobody. They not taking any criticism. They get one of the things about joining a gang, uh, you know you even will get killed or beat up by your own gang. Like okay, think about it, right? Most people idea is, okay, I join a gang, I'm protected of the other gang members and other people. And then you join a gang, your own gang beating your ass. Your own gang is actually trying to kill you, or if not, will kill you. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's crazy as that sounds. That's actually what you're dealing with. And it could be jealousy, it could be whatever. You broke a code or whatever, and that's it. Human competition, nonetheless. Enter. And a lot of those people. Okay, a lot of the gangs are kind of very similar to. Well, it depends. Like most of the gang members in Chicago, for example, is primarily African American, as far as like, okay, the Vice Lords, the Blackstone Rangers, the um, GDs, the BDs. Most of those people are black, but they do take on different. They take on white boys and different ethnicities. They'll take you in. If you're useful, they'll take you in. But most of it is primarily black, right? So those are other people within the inner racial um same dynamic that are killing each other, fighting each other over petty beefs and talking back and forth, probably online or even face to face or whatever. And they don't have any um as far as they're not just going back and forth. Like, if that is going to escalate towards basically the violence and murder. So it is a serious context. It's definitely something that is very, very serious when you think about it. A lot of people are very, very much sensitive and emotional towards that, and even just they have more of a let's just say a warlord mindset when it comes to someone trying to come at them, but then they think that they want to come at everybody else. So it's crazy work when you think about it, because it's kind of almost like someone thinks that they have a mentality as if they're the emperor or some fucking person that you can't be touched. And it's tripped out when you really break that down when you think about it. But it's all human competition. all of people's actions and behavior is based off of human competition, nonetheless. Yet, it's every culture, every ethnicity has levels of that. You white people have mobs, right? The mob and Irish mob, the Italian mob, Jewish mob, uh, you know, Greeks, all kinds of different ethnicities have their own version of a mob or a gang or something like that. And yeah, they will, you break the code, or if something happens, they will kill you. Like, i.e. the movie The Godfather, right? Prime example, or Casino or Goodfellas. Those movies were based off of stories that actually did happen. So um yeah, it's a lot of this is based off of human competition. Back to the actually getting hired and whatnot like that. It's frustrating because I understand. I understand human competition. Like, the older I'm getting, and definitely this light bulb that went on in my head, and I kind of looked at certain things, and I start to focus more on human competition. I started to really understand, and it breaks it down to understand. Okay, these people, you might not like racism. I mean, everybody is racist. Racism is just it's a certain mindset based off of human competition. Racial preference, racism, or whatever you want to call it, bigotry. It's all based off of human competition. And when you look at it like that, at least for me, I think of it as um it's not so like. I used to be like really fuming. I used to be fuming about racism. I used to be so upset about it. You know I used to be just really, really enthralled with it. Right now, I got it based off of just primate behavior. It's like human behavior. I'm not saying it's no big deal to me, but it's just like it really helps me, because the goal is definitely to be. I definitely look at myself as an elite man. I look at myself definitely as an elite man, and being an elite man, you are on Mount Olympus. You are up with the gods. You looking down, and you're seeing things kind of like you're seeing the ball kind of play out, and you're above the clouds and you're looking down. And the thing is this: make no mistake of it, that does help to really understand things, and it really makes sense. And I know I'm not the first person that ever thought about this shit, or it probably is already in books and stuff like that. I don't know if it's actually worded as such as human competition. But I remember I was watching, basically, I'll say this, when I kind of heard something similar. I was watching Judge Joe Brown. It was an interview with him, and I believe the guy Patrick Ben David. I believe that is where I saw this interview. And Judge Joe Brown, basically, when they was talking about racism, he said just like that. It's like, yeah, basically, that's it's like it's kind of, he didn't. I don't know if he said actually human competition, but he basically explained it just as such. Like, yeah, there's people competing with each other. It's people, you know, it's a competitive world. It's a competitive, like, if you look at the animal kingdom, And Animal Kingdom is very, very competitive. You don't, all you got to do is turn on National Geographic. You can see that, and it's all its carnal savagery, right? And it's, humans are no different. It's just smarter, intelligent beings, but yeah, it's a human competition. It's like this. I'll break it down, and I'm not. This is not the first time I've talked about this or whatever. But the thing is this: if, let's just say, right, if I wanted to have a leg up, right? It really, to be honest, I'm just saying like this. Just look at it from the spectrum of a white guy, right? You got these tall, big ass dick motherfuckers that's strong. You know what I'm saying? Like, they, goddamn it, I mean, it was so, it was, they didn't even let black people play sports, man. They was like, man, nah, this is, you can't even play, man. Get the fuck out of here. Like, and then you start noticing, like, damn, they probably shouldn't have never let motherfucking black people play no sports, because it's like we just took the shit over. Anything damn near with a ball, we took the motherfucking shit over. And then, made money off the shit. And it's like, okay, just look at it. Like I said, I looked at it from a perspective, okay, white guy, right? It's like, if I hire all these big dick motherfuckers, man, and had them in the office or wherever, they're making all this money, and then they got they bitches, and then they starting to fuck my bitches, and it's like, man, I can't have that shit, so I got to make it hard for these motherfuckers. Plus, I don't really get along with them like that. I prefer, people prefer their own people, that they grew up with, that they, what I'm saying? That's just how that shit works. And that's just how, I'm just, I'm kind of reminded of that. Like, it's frustrating. I'm not gonna say it's not frustrating. It's frustrating like a motherfucker, especially if you ain't got $10 million in the bank. But the thing is this: it is definitely part of human competition, and it's older. It's old. It goes back who knows how long, millions of years. And like I say, that's just one part of human competition. Everybody is competing. Men, like I said, men is competing against women, young against old, interculturally, as far as actual, whatever you want to say. White people are competing with white people, black people competing with black people, Hispanics are competing with Hispanics, or whatever, Latinos, competing with Latinos, Arabs are competing with Arabs. I mean, but the thing is I will say this: where it gets frustrating for me is when it comes to not getting hired and all of that type of shit with white, predominantly white ran companies. Is that I know black people don't really practice that level of human competitiveness that I know that we should, and it just makes it frustrating because um we black people have a benevolent type of, like, kind of spirit and even energy, to the most part, where we generally just don't do what white people do, as far as like being racially um I mean, we don't practice racial preference like that. Like, black people don't practice racial preference like white people. Arabs do the same thing, Arabians, everybody, Indians, Chinese, Koreans, uh, every damn near cultural, group in the on planet Earth, they pretty much practice the same type of practice, as far as racial preference or cultural, let's just say cultural preference. Black people in America they don't practice that type of cultural preference like that. Some do, some do, and black people do prefer each other for the most part, but not really, because primarily the reason why black people don't practice preference like that is kind of multi-tiered. One of them is definitely black people have a certain type of psychological hate towards or dislike towards other black people, or they even have a bias towards black people is such as they don't think they're competent enough, or they don't work hard enough, and so on and so forth. And some of those biases, in many ways, might be a self-fulfilling prophecy or true in many regards, because yeah, it is a lot of black people that um they do have certain issues, and then a lot of times I will say in my experiences being a business owner and hiring people with the very limited money that I did have, a lot of times when you do hire you know quote unquote black people, me obviously being a black man or whatever, um when you hire black people, I'll just call it the cousin effect, right? Or the family. Let's just say the family effect. A lot of times when you hire black people, what tends to happen a lot of times is they they kind of take on a different type of mentality, different in such as if they, let's just say, if a white person hired them, right? uh, when you a lot of times when you hire when I and this has been my experience, and I know other black people that's been business owners have had this experience too. When you hire black people, they take on some type of kind of family type of mindset when they work for you. They is almost as if though they, as soon as you hire them, they automatically turn into your brother or your cousin. Now they want to give you, extra excuses, extra, I didn't make it this time because I had to go pick up man at the daycare. I had to drop him off. I forgot to, wake up or whatever. They give you like more excuses. They're not showing up on time, and it becomes almost like, like almost common practice. They're not putting that much effort into the work. It's like they, like I said, as soon as they sign a paper, you could be, it could be 100% professional. I mean, of course, when I was working, yeah, it wasn't 100% professional. It was pretty much, not gonna lie to you. I mean, it was pretty much under the table cash. But I can promise you that it's probably people that have been 100% professional, meaning they filed all the proper paperwork, W-2 and all, I-9 or whatever, paperwork to make that employee official in the accordance of the law and business and everything and so forth, and had that same mentality and experience with hiring quote unquote their own um, ethnicity, right? A black business owner hiring another a black employee, and it's like, yeah, that is a thing. That is a cultural experience. A lot of black business owners have. Soon as you hire them, they automatically become your brother or your cousin or your sister or something, and it's like they're not putting the effort in. They're not working hard. It's almost like they got some automatic privilege, and it's like, I mean, I get it, and in many regards, it's not necessarily nothing wrong with that. But where it becomes a problem is that you're not getting that efficiency. Whereas, in, let's just say, the black person works for the white person or whatever. Let's just say work for a white company, white business owner. Um, they don't. they're not, it's not the same experience. They're not automatically, they know they're not automatically going to be the cousin, the family member, and they're expected to show up on time, and they're going to probably most likely in many regards show up on time. I'm not saying all of them. You got some derelict employees that probably, derelict employees. They, you know, don't really want to work like that, or have problems working or whatever. But it's like, yeah, they're gonna work. They ain't gonna, what I'm saying, put up, that many excuses like that, because they know they're gonna get fired. And it's like, um, that is a thing, when it comes to hiring, black people. They think as if almost they become an automatic family member by you hiring them. And a lot of times, in my case, it was people that I knew personally, like, it was guys that, I was, went to, mass year with, quote unquote. So that in some regards, I guess religiously, they were already kind of considered my brother, quote unquote, religiously, right? So, I don't know, maybe, that has, but I hired somebody that was just lived in the neighborhood, and I had the same experience, if not worse, because this person had, kind of problems. They were, had a drinking problem. So what happens? He had some type of stroke, and he got hit by a car or something. I don't know, or he was going into the street. Somebody got him out the street. So yeah, he was out of work he was basically out of commission for a while. And what happened was he had a stroke, and then he lost like a lot of his cognitive ability, and he just wasn't the same. But yeah, it is a thing where it just, that's what happens. I don't know if that's something that white people do too, or white people have a problem with. I haven't really like researched this or whatever, but it is a thing. You know, thirdly, I would say is that it just I don't know. I don't know if it's anything other than that, but I would just say that that's definitely a big part of it. Um, just that whole weird I'm automatic family member type of thing. Because see, with me is I don't do that. Like I work for black people. I've worked um for black business owners, and I work my ass off, just as if I would work for anybody else. And I've worked for damn near everybody. I didn't work for Arabians. I worked for Indians, white people, obviously. Um, damn near every person. Probably I don't know if I would work for some actual like Koreans or Japanese or anything like. Nah. I worked damn near everywhere. But um, the thing is that, yeah, I don't do that. But a lot of people do have that mindset where it's like, damn, black owned business, man. Yeah, I could show up late now. Woo, I'm in the family, But the thing is that when it comes to it, it just, like I said, black people, they don't really have any racial preference like that. And that's, like I said, I believe that definitely is like a benevolent type of, kind of mindset and energy, I would even say. And not kind of like a warlike energy, because white people look at it like a lot of people don't like to think about war. White people are definitely trained to believe in many regards. I'm not gonna say all of them, but a lot of them look at that as a form of warfare. Like they don't want you to um have any type of economic benefit. You know what I'm saying? And any comeuppance. because they look at it like, they're at war with you. Like I say, I mean, that's what basically what I'm talking about is human competition. I mean, that's also a part of human competition is, definitely actual physical war, but yeah, they definitely, a lot of them look at that regard with the incident that was reported where companies um took a $50 billion loss, and that's probably what's reported. It's probably even more than that because they didn't want to hire black men, per se, to work certain jobs. So basically how they calculated is most likely is that because they didn't hire primarily black candidates, okay, black male candidates, um those companies needed, because the reason why a company would hire anybody is they need workers to basically produce human capital for the company to help make money, right? So if I hire someone to, let's say I got a printing company and I hire someone to help with production of printing, that helps me meet my printing goals and needs so I can make more money. So a lot of what companies do, and they still do this, I mean, like I said, I'm talking about human competition. I mean, they did not hire, or they will not hire black men, right? uh and they will lose production um opportunities, right? Because they, couldn't hire anybody else or whatever at the time because they were still looking for whoever else they wanted to hire, I guess, or whatever. So they lost money by proxy of losing out on um, production because they didn't have the human capital they needed to produce. So yeah, they that was reported that they companies lost out, over $50 billion in actual profits, company profits, because they didn't hire particularly black men or black males, right? So, I mean, the thing is, like I say, I mean, a lot of white people have been taught by their parents that this is war. It's chess. Black people are the enemy, and different forms of what they do is, yeah, they don't hire their enemy. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even, in some regards, it's not even a preference type thing. I believe, maybe possibly it's both, or it's definitely one or the other. But the thing is this, right? Like I say, black people don't have that type of spirit when it comes to how they look at white people or other people. We just tend to not, we're not trained that way. you know that's just not how we were raised. A lot of people were raised in the church, right? Christian church in America, right? It's primarily a predominantly Christian country. So basically, people were not raised in a black family to basically be have that type of mindset where they're gonna have some type of racial preference based off of um some one-sided preference, right? Where they just only, prefer black people. White people were also in the church and stuff too, but they also was, I don't, really like to use this word all the time, but they were taught, a form of like kind of white supremacy where, they only prefer their own, particular race. Okay. It just black people were not trained that way or taught that way uh from infancy or childhood to adulthood with and you know going to adulthood, black people don't even knowing that the stuff that they deal with all of the aggressions and microaggressions, working a job, even if you get it, working around other races of people and other cultural groups, or even just even white companies that they work for. um they still don't have that mindset. It's still that a malevolent mindset where it's just more of a positive or peaceful coexistence type of energy, whereas other ethnicities and cultures don't really have that type of mindset. They have more of, it's like, it's war, I mean, like, they understand, it's like, um it's like that rap, the rap, hip hop, rap songs, like, worst come to worst, my people come first. Everybody else has that mindset. Black people don't really have that mindset. Only way they really have that mindset somewhat is when it comes to possibly dating and mating. I mean, pretty much most black people date within their own racial, demographic, it to the upwards of um, about 80 to 90%. 80% is black men. Um, as far as 80% of the time they choose black women. 90% of black women choose black men. And the other 10%, they date out, and then black men date out upwards of 20%. Now, some say, and I've not studied this or researched this. I'm not really that interested into that. Um, is that is going to that's climbing, or that's rising? That percentage is going to go higher, right? The younger generations, the millennials, the Gen Z they speculate that that's gonna they're gonna that percentage is going to go higher, or let's just say lower. So, like, for example, maybe the 90% for women is going to go to 80% is going to go to 70% for the men. So I mean, yeah, that very well may happen. But I mean, that's pretty much only where we probably have that, more or less, that mindset. When it comes to business and economic, um just basically economic, let's just say economic warfare. I'll just say it just like it is, economic warfare. Black people don't really have that concept to mind. They don't look at economics as war. They just, black people just don't have. Everybody else, every other racial group, they understand that concept of economic warfare. But black people in America definitely don't really have that mindset. Africans somewhat, very much so, more than blacks, because basically they they deal with that, actually, that fact in their country. They understand that, more or less, because they're forced to deal with that and understand that, coming from Africa, different parts of Africa. But black people in America, just, they don't have that concept of economic warfare. They don't look at it like that. When black people just kind of look at it from more of a character type of situation. If you're the type of person that you work hard, you do good work, or you have a good product and it's at a fair price, no matter what you look like, they're gonna probably buy from you. Okay, they're gonna support your business. Now, to a certain extent, You know that if you know if it is yeah, it is kind of weird because it's like some black people actually even have a problem with. I mean, if I had to put an exception to that, is that when it comes to other black people, they don't, black people don't really like, and it kind of goes to the same thing where it goes back to economic warfare because black people don't really support black people. They don't support black businesses like that because it kind of goes into the whole biases thing where it's like, this person, he doesn't have a good quality product or he doesn't have a good quality service. He's lazy. He's unequipped a lot of times, low stocked or whatever with items or whatever, tools and stuff like that. I hear that a lot of times with my uncle. Like my uncle, when he hires other black people, he always says, they didn't have enough equipment. They were mediocre. They didn't, they were low budget. You know what I'm saying? And in many regards, they were. Or the people that he's hiring are or whatever. I mean, I don't know where these people, my uncle, be finding these people. A lot of times it's like friends of family referrals and stuff like that, or actual friends of family type of thing. Because I mean, that's the last time he hired someone was just like a friend of a family type of thing. What's going on, Iori? So yeah, I mean, it's all goes back down to, like I say, it's human competition. Okay. It, like I say, it's frustrating because it's lopsided. You know, I definitely do believe if black people were more, let's just say, equal, like a equilibrium, it will force white people to have to kind of more or less respect black people's gangster. And the reason why I say gangster, I just say it to a level of respect what could happen. It's see, like I'm saying, it's consequences, right? Um, so it's like the consequence is because it's competition. So when it comes to the respect is like this, like okay, well, it's a trade off. Okay, it's like okay, and this happened. This actually is an effective weapon that black people have used in this country to a very very effective degree, which was basically boycott. During the 1960s, or I believe that was the 1960s when the Montgomery boycott, bus boycott. That's what actually happened. They in Alabama were dealing with situation where they weren't respected. Their dollar was not respected, and they were forced to basically have a substandard service with using the same service that everybody else was having, meaning they was forced to sit on the back of the bus by proxy of them just being black in America. They was you know forced to sit on the back of the bus as a basically a subhuman, a substandard individual to sit automatically on the back of the bus. So they just basically said we'll just walk and we'll give each other rides. And what actually happened was over time the bus depended on a lot of these black people for their revenue for the bus to operate. And probably maybe the white people had more cars than the black people and they didn't take the bus that much. And it wasn't the America how we have now. It was America didn't have that many Hispanics, other racial groups back in that time. It just wasn't that many. So it was just primarily white and black in many regards. So like I say, white people probably had more cars. They didn't really take the bus like that. So pretty much the revenues plummeted. In order for the company or any other business to make money to pay for their employees, they needed this revenue. So they was forced to basically reciprocate to their customers that they were forced to um, give substandard service to basically sit on the back of the bus. And now they were forced to renegotiate their standards and have those patrons sit wherever they wanted to because of that basically boycott. And the thing is that what happens is in this society, even still today, by proxy of a lot of different regards, primarily it's a lot. Some of it is propaganda, mind control, all that type of shit, for black people to have certain ways of thinking. Okay, a lot of black people are still in the matrix and all of that type of shit. Anyway, um, the thing is that what mostly a lot of times what happens is, and still in America, is that basically black people are their businesses and are being boycotted by also black people and everybody else. And then black people support everybody else in their business. And then they wonder why, again, they don't have any jobs and they're not getting hired. They get boycotted from jobs, by other racial groups and even, um, just everybody, damn near, so it's just that's why it's a lot of times black men are forced to, be these hardcore stoics to just survive because you got to deal with a lot of different things in the form of human competition on all sides, damn near, and even forced to the underground world to basically do criminal acts and illegal acts to survive, to uh pay for expenses for your children, your family, whatever, because it just it's not a lot of opportunities in a lot of different regards. And it's frustrating for not only just myself, for other people, because they're like, damn, I mean, how, I'm like, well, I know why these people are enacting this behavior. It's it's the same concept that goes back to the Montgomery boycott, bus boycott. People are not respecting other people's, ethics and standards, basically. It's like the idea of it is, well, if these people not supporting us, then we gotta capitulate to them, because we kind of need them. And they, we obviously know they need us, but we don't need them, you know to a degree of, as much as they need us. So, you know um we don't have to capitulate. And of course, I mean, this is why there's EEOC laws. Okay, don't get me wrong. There's EEOC laws. You can use them, and you can definitely file a lawsuit. You can get paid because, I mean, there's federal laws against certain practices like this. And if you look up the various EEOC complaints and lawsuits or whatever, or let's just say EEOC claims and stuff like that. A lot of the companies, you'll be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be surprised, depending on what you think as far as you being surprised of, is they get EEOC claims, and it's some companies that get quite a few EEOC claims every single year, and they pay them, and they know what they do. They know their practices. They get caught, and then they just basically continue that same practice. One of those is definitely Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is not only do they go into EEOC claims and problems with hiring, obviously they have also problems with basically their own customers that are black and also even Hispanic, where I mean, in order to push, like I said, it's human competition. I don't I don't like I used to like I said, I used to really, really be like, oh man, you probably even like definitely looking at this as a form of human competition. Some of it I do think it goes into certain levels of like it goes into mental illness. I think the bigotry kind of more or less goes into mental illness. You see that with the Fox News type individual that just watch Fox News all the time, is very, very extremely racist and very bigotry oriented. That person obviously you can see is like one screw loose of firing off an AR-15 into a crowd of minorities, or very, very basically insane, right? I mean, that's obvious. Well, the bigotry definitely goes into mental illness. But the thing is that all of it is encompassing human competition. It's definitely human competition. So like I said, I look at it more of an animal. It's like animal behavior than just, oh damn, these people are racist, man. They're so evil and bad and blah blah blah. I mean, I look, like I say, I'm a very, very I'm a very, very intelligent person, man. When I get to really, really thinking about a problem, and I really think about it, you know, I I mean, what I'm saying, like it just it gets really, really remarkable with this big old brain that I have. But like I said, I'm definitely gonna break down my theory as far as, and it might not even be my theory. I'm pretty sure this is probably some type of sociology professor or uh, doctor or whatever already have broken this down or whatever. But I'll just put whatever I have towards it, and I'm gonna do a very, very thorough presentation on this, and I'm not gonna lie, this is like definitely gonna be something to add to the toolkit to really, really help you understand. Because see, these types of understandings, like, don't get me wrong, like, you got to understand the beautiful thing about the manosphere and different theories and stuff like that that is sprung from here. Because you got to understand, when the stuff that I even added is it just puts you on a whole nother level of intelligence of other people that don't really know about this stuff. When you put on when you do put on your suit, or tie whatever, or put your clothes on and you go to work, and you have the mindset of understanding people. Because when you understand people, it is very, very highly um just highly skilled that you understand people. Because especially when you going, definitely when I'm speaking like upper management, understanding people is a must. Different types of people, like understanding the octane levels. um I got different like classes of people, as far as economic breakdown of different people, um disabled people, um, trench fighters, freedom fighters, commanders, chief commanders. I mean, I have different things that I've added, to the discussion of different types of people, and then definitely the animal hierarchy as well. My animal hierarchy videos definitely help you understand people. I was one of the first people that actually came up with the concept of a lot of the defiant types of women, kind of like being hyenas. I was the one that came up with that. Somebody, whoever said that they came up with it, stole that from me and claimed it as their own. But I was the first person that came up with that. I had a channel called Solar Scholar. And I'm gonna tell you this: whenever you create a channel, I don't care what the fuck you go. I don't give a fuck if you Jason Bourne and the government is on your back. Like, do not delete your channel. Keep your channel up. Of course, if YouTube delete your channel, ain't too much you could do about that besides archive your channel. I mean, StreamYard is, good for that, as far as like, as long as you have enough storage or whatever. But, certain content, yeah, you should definitely download, put on a hard drive. Tech is so cheap nowadays. You can get like a 10 terabyte hard drive for probably like what, I don't know, $100, less than $200. And you save these important videos, especially like a person like myself that is very, very intelligent, you know and I come up with different concepts or ideas. If you coming up with something, and a video like that, so you can basically archive that, so it can't nobody be like, oh man, no, like, I created this channel in 2016, you know before, and then before everybody else was not saying anything like this. And then I had these videos then when I was talking about animal hierarchy then. And it's like, when you delete a channel, you don't have, I don't know what Google does, like, as far as they got deleted data on a hard drive somewhere. I mean, like, you couldn't do anything about that other than if you got some type of legal counsel to inquire if Google still has that data. From what I've heard or whatever, or they do have old data that you delete. Like, if you delete a channel, they might still have that data somewhere or whatever. I don't know. But the thing is, I'll just say, don't delete no channels. Like, whatever you do, like, if you just want to, kind of don't want the content to be seen anymore, you could just make it private. Then nobody will see it, unlisted, and also, like, nobody will see it. You unlisting it is good enough. But if you really concerned, you could just put all your videos on private, and what I'm saying, it'll still be there. So yeah, I don't recommend it. Whatever you're going through, I don't give a fuck what it is. Don't delete your channel. Just archive it. The important videos, especially, I would say, particular videos where you came up with some new concept or something like that. So therefore, some charlatan can't come and then claim some shit. So they, for their own benefit of, obviously, because there's no reason why anybody else would do that other than they're trying to make some type of financial gain. Myself, I'm not really. I love money. I swear to God, it's not too many people love money as much as I do. And I go through extremes in order to save money and capitalize money on and enrich myself, you know. But the thing is yeah, definitely I would say people do that in order to have some type of financial gain. Without that, people wouldn't really too much have no incentive to do that. You know? So it's goofy. But oh, you say you want me to drop the link? Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. So yeah, it's goofy to me. It's really goofy because I don't know why people do that. Like that's I mean, it's just so disrespectful because it's like it's kind of like it's like the dude that's in the class, right? He looking at your paper and he trying, you know, ordinarily he would probably most likely get a D or an F, and he just looking at your paper so he can possibly get a B or an A, you know. And it's like, man, I mean, you know, I get it, man. You know, you really ain't that you really can't come up with no idea by yourself, you know. But it's like, man, it ain't nothing. I mean, it ain't like we in class and you gotta get, you know what I'm saying, cheat off me to get an A. Like it's nothing stopping from, you know, somebody from giving somebody some credit, man. It ain't you still gonna make the same amount of money. You gonna still have the same type of you know, prominence of whatever the fuck you're doing. It's like it ain't really much gonna change. Like people state people all the time, and they're just as great as a person because with them stating someone, then you know, then if they just basically just took their idea and never stated them as a reference. It's just so weird, you know. You know, it's not like okay, like for example, I watch a lot of where at one time I was watching it was a guy by the name of Professor Mearsheimer. He talks a lot about conflict in Israel and different the conflict in Russia and the Ukraine. He doesn't he'll state someone else that talked about something or said something, and he's still the same person that is, you know, a well-known professor, you know, out of University of Chicago, and is knows a lot about geopolitics, and you know, served in the military himself. There is nothing that is taken away from that by him stating some other scholar or some other individual that stated something or said something. It's like cats are so goofy. And it's like that's why cats, I think, be falling off because they're not really genuine. They're fake, you know, just really fake, you know. But what's going on, Iori, man? I'm just
What's good, family? What's good? So, what
yeah.
in particular are we talking about? We talking about the space in general, or
No, it was, you know, I was just saying because you know, I was noticing that it's people that don't want to take, they want to like joke and clown other people, but then
yeah,
they can't take that back.
yeah, yeah.
They can't.
Well, that happens a lot in this space. I mean, it happened today, but I'm not going to get into it. So,
Yeah, yeah, it happened to me today. I'm like, damn, I'm just clowning. I don't hate anybody. I still the person that, you know, the person that I talked about their hairline, man, you know what I'm saying? It's obviously a troll. I don't hate that dude, man. I actually, I mean, I think he's a cool dude, man. You know, cool nerd ass nigga. Like
yeah,
I think he's cool. I don't hate nobody. I ain't got no reason to hate. The fuck do I? You know, even the fact that he said something totally disrespectful, I still was like, you know what? I kind of know why. You know, a lot of times, here's the thing, right?
Sure.
A lot of times people is really, 2024, this is a rough year. I don't know if you think that, I don't know if you have the same kind of, if you think the same way or whatever, but this has really been rough, right? And it's rough for quite a few people because I notice a lot of people are crashing out this year.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed that too.
I mean, it's been a lot of people that has been is crashing out, and a lot of people are not really happy. Okay, now I'm not gonna say that it's not rough for me, but I don't tell people to go. I'm gonna stick my dick in their mouth. Like I just don't. I don't talk like that
Yeah.
because I think first of all, I think that's gay as hell to tell another man that you wanna stick your dick in them.
Yeah.
Like I definitely think. I mean, I don't give a fuck if what somebody's saying. Like if I caught somebody talking about me or whatever, saying I'm a clown or whatever, I'm not gonna come at them and be like, man, I'm gonna stick my dick in your mouth, man, if you keep talking about
And
me.
no Diddy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 man. That's suspect, man. But look, when it comes to this space, you never know
Pause.
this space, unfortunately. So
Yeah. It's
yeah,
just I just find it weird. Like I don't really take it personal, because the thing is this, like this shit is entertainment to me for the most part. When I go on somebody else's channel, I'm trying to, I know these are real people. This is more personable and shit like that because it's not like okay, when I go on Netflix, I pay $15 to go on Netflix, and I'm watching various different things on Netflix or whatever. I'm watching The Walking Dead or whatever. I know it's scripted TV. Is no interaction. I'm just watching and shit. But the thing is that I know these people are, it's not Walking Dead. Obviously, it's not scripted. These people are talking about their own personal lives and livelihoods or whatever. And I, the thing is this, like, you know, I get it, but people are, shooting the dozens, you know, and it's like, okay, well, if I shoot the dozens, okay, you feel some type of way if I shoot the dozens and you want to, kind of escalate things. Okay, well, why are you even involved in it at this point? If you gotta take it a step further to the point where you like, okay, you want some type of immunity by proxy of escalation of violence. I mean, like that's like, okay, like, somebody somebody can't take no criticism whatsoever, no jokes or anything like that, then I'm like, I'm kind of confused here. Because I thought I just heard you roasting somebody else,
who me?
and no, not you, but I'm just saying the guy
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I'm talking about.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, when someone when somebody else roasts you, oh, you can't take it. Oh, okay. And it's like, the thing is this. I understand where that comes from, you know, this is kind of where, this is where that comes from, and um, it's real personal, and it just shows, their true colors as far as, who they really are,
Right.
and it's not like they're a upstanding person. It's not like they're, a man of a higher echelon and stuff like that. Because it's like, I mean, people will come back. You know what I'm saying. You could say something. say something else about me or whatever, I'll take it, you know. Or I keep, you know, you can go back and forth, you know.
This is
But
why people stay out of this space, bro. Like, look, I haven't really been in this space like that for
yeah,
like
yeah,
4 years.
yeah,
Like I was everywhere in the space, like in, I don't know, 2019, whatever. Like
yeah,
this space criminalizes intelligent content. That's the problem with this space, you know.
yeah,
And then everyone's like, oh man, like y'all don't support. I'm like, yeah, well, if if we're if we're appealing to the lowest common denominator of our audience,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
like, bro,
I
Mr.
mean, it gets boring. It gets boring after a while. I think. I mean, even to be honest, like, well, some of the stuff is just funny. I will say it's funny. I mean, like I was talking about, I was kind of drawing this in with human competition, and one of the forms of human competition is it is actually kind of, you know, shooting the dozens and stuff like that, because everybody has flaws, you know. When, you know, everybody, and the thing is that when and you might not think that people know your flaws or pay attention, but you'll be surprised, right? And it's like everybody has flaws, and the thing is that with those flaws, that's why people sharpen up. They try to sharpen up as much as they possibly can, so they can damn near be flawless. But everybody still has flaws, no matter what, because nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But where those imperfections come is possibility for improvement. Like, I mean, when you a lot of times what things start off, like I said this before, like earlier, a lot of things start off with your own people that really rock with you. They gonna tell you, okay, man, you need to probably do this. Why don't you do this? Why don't you, you know, I got this tech class, man. I just this tech course that I created. It's only $100. I can get you pretty much in the game right away. I mean, you know, it's like stuff like that. And you know this person is pretty much not making no money. They're not really doing much. Now I don't really know what's going on. You know, you got some people that's got felonies. They don't really want to mention that. You know, I'm probably one of the few people that have that will from time to time, and I used, you know, I kind of toned down on it as of late, but I, you know, in the past, definitely I'm one of the few people that are very vocal and transparent about my own personal life and my own transgressions as well as imperfections. You
Correct.
know, other people do not tell anything. And it's like it's kind of, it does work, but where it doesn't work is when your ship is sinking. Because it's like, okay, if your ship is sinking, then you like, okay, people see your fucking ship is sinking. They see, you know, water coming in. And it's like you're trying to act like water is not coming in. Or no, you know water's coming in, but then you're not explaining how this water came in. You're just talking, you're just, you know, trying to continue on, but your ship is sinking. And then you know, the people that's rocking with you, they like, well, why don't you, you know, go take this course so you can make some money so you can, you know, plug up your ship or whatever is going on in your life to, help you out, and then you're just not even saying nothing. You ain't even asking, well, I don't really have $100. Do you do 50% off? You ain't even asking that because it's so arrogant. Like, a lot of people are so arrogant, they don't even think to be like, okay, can I get a percentage off or some shit like that? Like, they don't think that it's valuable enough for them.
Right.
Or whatever the fuck is going on, or they think they can't do it, or I don't know. I don't know what the mindset is, because it's nothing saying. But the fucking ship is sinking. This person doesn't have enough to keep this ship afloat. You do know that as the person that's trying to look out for you, that's rocking with you, they like, man, I'm trying to help you, but you know what I'm saying? And then it turns into, you can't take criticism. And then also now the dude that's trying to give you some criticism, you're trying to talk about this person, dirty Mac this motherfucker, or
Right.
talk down on this person that was trying to give you some criticism, or you don't really like this person, now because or whatever the fuck you was thinking in your head, or your demonic ass head, or whatever spirits, floating around and shit. And it's like, okay, what I'm saying is, I don't know what goes on in anybody's life if you don't tell me. And then also, if you got all of this stuff that you got, all these secrets, all of this stuff, which most people do. I mean, obviously I get it, but it's like, if you that closed lip about it, right? That works if your ship is not sinking. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
If your ship is afloat and is doing well, that works. That'll work for a long time, you know. But when your ship is sinking, that shit does not work, man. That works against you, actually. But pride is a big thing, my grandfather is like that, was like that. He's was a Capricorn. He was a shrewd businessman, in a good one, very good business. My grandfather was one of the best businessmen I've ever met or even known in my life. And he didn't even, he wasn't no, billionaire or nothing like that. He was a millionaire, but um, he was the most thorough businessman I've ever met. I mean, he used to wake up like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, like every day, get ready to go open his store. And the most people just don't have the
Yeah.
ability to do that.
Yeah. Most people don't have the work ethic for stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, even I would even say I struggled doing that. I shoot, didn't even, have to do half of what my grandfather had to do, and I
Yeah.
struggle with it,
Yeah.
so
Same here, bro. Same here. It's, I didn't have to do half of what my grandparents did. My parents didn't have to do half of what my grandparents did, and I didn't have to do half of what my grandparents did either.
yeah,
It's just yeah, it's just
you know,
it's just a different era, different time kind of thing. So,
yeah.
but yeah, look,
But,
it's just
but it's
the
not it's not too late.
yeah,
I'm not gonna say it's too late for me. I mean,
correct.
I just say that I'm definitely not my grandfather. I had to learn that, I'm not my grandfather. Even if I want to be my grandfather, I'm not him. I learned from him, and I know what he did. The things that he did were right. He didn't do everything right, and I asked him some things before he died, like, why you didn't, kind of do this, that, and the third, or whatever. And he just, he told me, kind of right before, like years before he died, but it's some things that I could probably tweak to kind of even maybe scale up even further than he did, and um, learn some things, because see, the thing is, I'll just say this. What I'm saying is that one of the things is, once you have a good business system, and I think my grandfather did have a good business system. Um, just kind of sitting back, taking your wins, profits, and then just like putting somebody in place that you could trust to manage everything, and you go about maybe building another location somewhere else across town or wherever, another part of the city, and recreating that, you know. Then you might have to run that place for a while, like you did the other place. Then you get another manager, after a while, to after you get it built up and everything up and running. And then you repeat the same process in another location, and then you just keep expanding. And then you got instead of one place, you got now three places creating revenue, creating profits. And then now you got, he already actually had a corporation. He had a corporation. So now you got three stores all up and running, same name. Um, that's kind of what I look at, possibly what could have my grandfather could have done. And getting somebody to get up early in the morning or whatever, that probably, could have been a challenge, but I'm sure if you got the right person, that, would it's still possible. It's possible for him to have found someone, even if he had to go all the way to Mississippi to find somebody that was from where he was from, because,
Right.
he was from, humble beginnings where, he lived in a shack basically with an outhouse, no running
Sure.
water, no electricity. You really can't teach that. That's
Yeah,
that
yeah,
hunger, that
yeah,
hunger and that determination and drive, man. You can't teach it, man. I
yeah.
didn't have to never I never really, I mean, other than camping maybe one day, maybe 1 or 2 days, really bad day, I'll just say. I ain't never really had to experience that like on no permanent basis,
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure.
other than possibly camping in the woods. I remember camping and living, sleeping in a kind of a wooden structure, like a little campgrounds with a little cabin. And I remember it was a bunch of mosquitoes in the cabin, and it's like you trying to go to sleep. It was like, yeah, it was, it was an experience, but it's like, yeah, that was his life. He, a wooden shack, him and his family and siblings, that type of determination, man, to get out of that and want better. It just you can't teach. That's what a lot of times people don't understand. That's what a lot of these immigrants come over here, and they come from that, and and that you can't teach that. What I mean by teach that, because this is the same conversation I had with some of my friends that they had businesses too. They I had a computer store, and my friend, he was, I would consider him a business mentor of mine. He taught me a lot of things. He was like a trailblazer, right? And I just followed behind him. Um, he had his store across the street from mine, and uh, one he noticed the same things. Like, it's people from other countries that kind of grew up in a situation or went through a situation where they came from like lowly, like a poverty type of situation, or lifestyle, or living, or whatever. And the part of not teaching, you can't teach that, is and I'm not saying everybody that come from that is determined, like just super determining, super entrepreneurs or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but a lot of times what happens is people from that that kind of that situation is like, look at it like it was a torturous situation, and that pain and that torture of living that type of life, even though they might even gotten used to that, it turns into a situation where it turns into like a drive where when they second they got the opportunity to do better, they just did better and better, and they scaled and just kept waking up, and you know, you all of that came from that. So when you got a situation where a dude, let's just say like myself, you know, my grandfather definitely hold on one second. What is, let me see here. Um that's weird. Never heard that sound before. It's like some beeping. But I think that's my laptop. Anyway, man, that drive, man. You know, you know, my situation, like I was just kind of, I would just say I was spoiled. You know, I didn't have that experience. My, you know, from the time I was young to the time I was old, you know, I was younger. I lived in an apartment building with my parents. Um, then you know, my mom rented a house from my aunt, and um, you know, then she bought a house, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I never, you know, I just grew up with a lot of comforts, man, and you know, it's like, man, it just, I wasn't rich. I knew I wasn't rich, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that. Like, I mean,
Right.
you know, I knew it was other people that was way richer and way, you know, had way more creature comforts than I had. But the thing is that basically, um, I would say that I definitely was spoiled. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, nonetheless. So that coming from that, it was like I had to kind of go through my own struggles, and you know, kind of learn the struggle, you know, of my own problems and stuff that, you know, I had to deal with. So I do have some hunger now. I do have a lot more than I did have. So, you know, because I mean, I'm definitely dealing with real estate and dealing with these houses, man. And you know, like I was watching some guy. Um, he was a real estate investor, and this is, you know, I subscribed to him, but this is when I knew this dude was thorough. I saw one short. I'm trying to think of this dude's name. I'm gonna
Was it
find.
Ty the Flip Man, or was it somebody else?
No, I followed Ty for years, but no, this guy, he's a New Yorker, uh, based out of he's out of North Carolina.
Okay.
Um, and basically, he said basically something, and I knew this guy was thorough because I wish I would have followed this guy years ago. I mean, it's too late and a dollar short for me, but he said something basically in the tune of basically you should, when you're first starting out, you should not buy a job. I mean, a house that is a complete gut job, or basically, oh, okay, damn, I never would have thought that was what that was. So that's something I got to deal with. But he basically said you shouldn't buy a house that's a complete gut job or a house that needs to be torn down. That's what he said. Like when you first starting out, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Those are the hardest ones to do because they require the most time up front.
And the messed up thing is that's what I bought. Those are my first. Well, yeah, those were my first 3 deals. The first house was basically a tear down, a house that. Well, no, it was basically technically, I would say you would be probably more classified as it depends on how you look at it. It really could have been possibly classified as a tear down, my first house, because it was like fire damage. The roof was fire damaged completely. Not completely, I would say about probably 75% roof was definitely fire damage. And I ended up not doing anything with that. I didn't get it fixed or anything because by the time I was able to get down to dealing with the roof, it was already too late, and the city demolished the house. But yeah, that was a second real estate transaction. I mean, the first real estate deal that I ever had. Then the second was basically a gut job, a complete. Well, nah, that house wasn't really a complete gut job. It was a serious renovation though. It was like, it needed quite a bit. You can damn near say it was like a complete gut job. So it needed a lot of work. I mean, I did enough to get the house up to code, but I didn't own the house, so I didn't necessarily fix everything. I got it up to code. But
Got it.
the guy's name is Jamal Gibbs.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool.
But when he did that video, I was like, man, I know this dude. I mean, I already, kind of figured he was really good, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, this dude know what he's talking about. Cause my first and second deal, my first deal was like kind of like a tear down, nothing else, a total gut job. And really, really a worse gut job because you don't want a gut job where you have to replace an entire roof of a house. Actually, it's not even a roof. Just say the second story of a house. The second actual level of the house. And of course, including the roof. So, the second, house and the third house was, obviously what I'm dealing with now is a complete gut job. And it's like, I wish I would have heard that, 10 years ago, you know what I'm saying? actually longer than that. But the thing is that the tripped out thing is those are the kind of best, or let's just say, I'm not gonna say the best, but best deals, but those are the cheapest deals that you can get, because don't nobody want them, because they damn near need, they need everything.
Yeah, the price point's the lowest. That's how they get people into getting these deals.
Right.
So yeah.
It was like, that's what those are, dealing with. But you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I mean, and I've said this many a times. That was, at that time, that was all I could afford.
Correct, and that's why you took the deal.
Yeah, yeah. Even if I knew that, probably still would have took it.
Yeah,
because I didn't have any credit to get any like loan or anything.
Gotcha.
At that time, and I just knew I needed to get something.
Yeah,
I knew
you just want to get in the game bad, so you got into the game that way. That's what it was.
No, I saw the chess move. It was deeper than that. I saw the chess move. The chess move was, you gonna have to get something, or you gonna be ring, or living with family or something like that for a longer time than you want to. And that's that. Like, that's kind of what I saw.
Right.
And I mean, I just took it I took action to just basically make a move, knowing that, it was possibly going to be difficult, that's just what I did. Like, cause I knew it was going to be difficult. I just, obviously a lot of times, whatever you thought the degree of difficulty is, usually I would probably say more difficult than what you thought it was going to be, because that's just typically how those things work, where you get into something, the degree of difficulty you think is worse than that. Like, and that's what it was. And then my inexperience, because it was only my third house. So, I was still pretty much green on quite a few things, that, I learned from this house, like, basically. But I mean, I just say all of that to say that, basically, dealing with this house and dealing with the houses that I've had, man, I definitely have learned a bit of a struggle,
I understand.
So, and dealt with it. And then, shoot, I don't even think my grandfather didn't even have to deal with stuff I had to deal with with houses, because basically my grandfather just rented, then when he started making money at his liquor store, he just kind of bought a house. Well, at that time he had to buy a house on contract because they weren't giving out loans like that to black people. So he got a house on contract from some Jewish man.
Yeah. And
ended up paying the house off, but basically, he his house was, pretty much fixed up. So he didn't have to worry about all the repairs and stuff like that. And any repairs that needed done, he was, he had a liquor store at the time. He was making tons of money. Now, when I was younger, I didn't. My granddad, he used to, when you talk about like playing broke and stuff like that, when I talk about that, my grandfather, he did that excellently. Like, cause he was so good. I thought my grandfather was broke. He had, because every time I asked my grandfather for some money, he said he didn't have it, and I didn't. I was too young. I mean, I just wasn't. I didn't know enough to know. Basically, okay, my grandfather had this, liquor store. He had a pharmacy, had a laundromat, a tavern, apartments on top of the buildings. This dude's rich as hell. I just took my grandfather's word. He didn't have it. So, he put on the act like he was struggling. And that's just I took him for his word, until, when I got older, I had my store. And he told me, he was like, yeah, I was a millionaire when I was about to buy a yacht, but I didn't have, I didn't have anywhere to put it. Then it was going to be fees to have the yacht dock or something like that. And he got turned off and didn't buy it. And I was like, oh, wow, that's, I mean, I wasn't surprised because at that point I was like 20, about 29, maybe 30 years old. Of course, I know about a liquor store that, at that point. So he fessed up and told me what he was, how successful he actually was. But then I told my uncle, and my uncle didn't believe me because obviously that act wasn't just for me. He was putting on the same act for his stepkids. I mean, that wasn't my biological grandfather, but it's just, yeah, my grandfather didn't have to worry about any construction repairs and stuff like that. I mean, he did later when he stopped, he didn't have his store anymore, but even still, he's, had enough money to just pay for everything. It's an advantage of being a millionaire.
Correct. Yeah, you can move your money around a certain way that most people can't.
Yeah, like even I ain't gonna lie, like even my uncle, he ain't, I don't, he kind of similar to my grandfather. If anything happens, my uncle just whips his wallet out. Yeah. He whooped, like I made a AI picture of Thor's hammer, but with a wallet. It's like, that's how powerful your wallet is when you got money, man. Anything happen as far as Murphy's Law, you got, just say you got 50, let's say you got $100,000 in credit card lines or whatever, and then you got hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, retirement money that you could possibly pull from. You got, a couple houses. I mean, anything you need, just whip your wallet out. Like, I want a garage. Oh, okay, 20,000. Boom. A new kit. The wife wants a new kitchen. It's 28,000. Ooh, just whip your wallet out, pay for it. I mean, that's just, that's what you do if you got the money. I mean, it's just it got to start somewhere. I mean, my uncle at one time, he was, broke as hell. Working at a electronics store. So it, that came from like years of working and buying investment property and stuff like that. So it didn't necessarily come, not like he had it all his life or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, struggle, and he definitely, my uncle don't spend hardly he don't hardly like to spend no money on nothing. I wish I was like that, where he's like a miser.
Sure.
He just kind of saves a lot of, he doesn't really like to spend money on like stuff or whatever. He just try to save as much as he can. But at one time he was like homeless. So that's a struggle that I have never, fortunately dealt with. So I think that kind of made him, really concerned because it's obviously, you most of the people that I know, like it's this one dude he's really good with stocks. He's like a VC, or he works for a VC company. His name is Mark Monroe.
Okay.
He had a homeless story where he said he was sleeping on a park bench for a period of time. And a lot of the people that I know that had like a homeless story, a lot of these people that's like millionaires and even some billionaires, like even John Cena, has a homeless origin story. A lot of people, you'd be surprised, even like Robert Kiyosaki, they have some type of story where they was camping out in a camper or a van, or you know some situation where it was like basically they were homeless.
Right.
Um, and that definitely, that struggle from that, you don't forget about that. From time to time you might get a flashback.
Correct.
So,
Correct. Yeah.
but as far as like, that's why, like I said, it's sensitive. Sensitive cats, man, can't take criticism.
Look,
You know,
if
those,
they if they can't take criticism, they ain't gonna make it, bro.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, that's the way that works. Like, you cannot rise above when you can't take criticism, and then you just pretty much all you're saying is you basically not gonna prosper. Because like I say, I mean, how this whole criticism thing works is the first people that kind of it's not even it's like kind of like first it starts off with, like I say, um a concern level of criticism where your own friends, family, they give you some type of like advice, and it might come off like criticism, but they genuinely have some type of interest to try to help you, try to do better, you know. And what happens is when you don't take that advice, because a lot of times that's where some of the the best advice you can get um is from friends and family and and peers of yours. And the best thing is to kind of write those things down, or put them in your memory bank, and try to implement some of those things. But if you don't, like I say, you on this sinking ship, you know you're just gonna keep sinking. And then after you start sinking, the water is pretty much setting on. You trying to prepare some life rafts and uh, life jackets or whatever. People gonna start ragging on you. Now it's not kind of like lighthearted criticism or any advice. It's like laughing at you. You see this ship just halfway going down in the ocean, and
Yeah.
it's your ship. It's your ship. It's nobody else's ship. It's your ship. And then they just, bring the timeline. People bring the timeline. They like, oh man, you let this person, drag your ship down. You let this person, basically, you had the opportunity to, make a whole bunch of money and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, I mean, um, you did. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't like everybody got a ship. You
Right.
know, some people like if to be honest, to look at myself, man, shit, probably, I would say,
To be perfectly honest with you, bro, I tell you this, right? Oh shoot, what happened? Okay, yeah. To be perfectly honest with you, we really have to understand most people really don't have what it takes to really be successful. The reason I say that is because there's so many stops and starts and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So much BS you got to go through. Like sometimes getting a deal done, okay, you got to get it funded, you got to find it, you got to
Yeah.
you got to negotiate it. You got to
Right.
hope that like all the stuff you're getting for the deal works out. Sometimes you've got like time constraints.
Yeah.
Bro, like there's like a multitude of factors it's going to take for you to get deals done. And,
Yeah.
and most people just don't have the gumption and like the stick to itiveness to make that happen.
Right.
It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
eh,
It's Yeah. I mean, like I was gonna say. I mean, I'm not gonna even say I may shit. I don't know. Maybe my ship. If I was to equate it like my situation, I don't know. Like maybe my ship, it's already sunk and I'm in a submarine. I don't know. Like, I mean, shit, I ain't gonna, it's not me saying that I'm better, or whatever. I mean, I might be in a submarine because it's like, nobody even fucking, really, what I'm saying, rock with me like that, man. Maybe now and again, somebody might come in a submersible and, what I'm saying? Like, it's
hey
not
man,
like my
hey,
situation is any better.
let's make sure this shit ain't no ocean gates and submersible now.
Yeah, man, people were ragging on them people, and I
That shit
do.
that shit happened right here, by the way. That shit happened right here.
Where
It,
is it?
I mean, they took off from San Diego.
Oh yeah, I've been to San Diego
Yeah,
before.
yeah, they man, I
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, they rich, right? I don't. I mean, was like some of them billionaires or
yeah,
like,
they were all billionaires. Like, see,
oh,
this is
oh,
okay. This is the problem where too much money comes into the picture. Like y'all doing some shit that y'all really don't need to be doing because y'all bored and like
uh
that's
huh,
that's the next thing.
uh
Man,
huh,
look, so ain't no way I'd be is one of the guys doing some experimental shit where
uh
the the
huh.
the the
They had like an Xbox controller or a
yeah,
PlayStation controller.
bruh, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
So I
I mean,
mean, I
I mean,
never, I don't give a fuck if they were trillionaires. I mean, the fact that they were billionaires or whatever, I wasn't sure if they were billionaires or millionaires. But it's like, I mean, I wasn't about to rag on some people that's dead, man. I
yeah,
don't do no shit like that, man.
yeah.
I mean, the thing is that like, I don't know why I think about that experience, but I guess I don't know. I think about it like, why the fuck did they just have a PlayStation controller or Xbox controller? Why didn't they just have like a backup with like some type of, I guess, standard equipment? And it's like, I don't know. I just think about it like that.
It's because obviously they cut corners on the thing,
Uh, uh,
right?
yeah.
It's just I mean they cut corners in design, they cut corners in terms of reliability tests, all this other kind of stuff. It wasn't the first time that thing tried to go down. This is like the second or third time, and
Uh,
technically those submersibles aren't supposed to go down past like a few times because every time it goes down and comes back up, like you risk
uh,
like failure,
right,
right?
right, right. Yeah.
So yeah, like, it's just yeah.
Yeah.
Look, as as far as I'm concerned, should everybody be successful? Yes. Do people have the soft skills and the hard skills and the grindability to really like stick on something with this
Well,
generation? I,
yeah.
I wouldn't say that, man. Not
Well,
not with this generation.
well, here's the thing when it comes, and I'm, even this obviously it goes into human competition. Um, it's a couple ways you can I can see, and the rich people they say the same thing, so this ain't no different than me saying it. It's about, it's kind of like my great uncle before he died. I never forget because I kind of told him my aspirations and what I wanted to do or whatever. Um, he basically told me, a millionaire did not make $1 million on his own. Like you had a bunch of people usually to help you get to that point, and it's like those guys they probably knew each other for probably a long time. I don't know, but
Right.
a lot of
Well,
times,
the Bulls didn't win a championship with one guy. So yeah, I mean
yeah,
that's true. But see,
yeah,
it depends. It depends on how that information is
yeah.
communicated. Because
Yeah, because it's like to me, you can be that one guy, but I think like you'd have to kind of make some money. It goes back to kind of if you can get the capital or not. If you can
correct.
get the capital, you can basically pay your way into it. Meaning, I mean, you can use your money to build a team. I mean, basically, like, but that's hard for most people to do it. Like, I mean, you know, it just is. Like a lot of those people that do it like that, they probably are, they had, it's not so probably, but they had, usually they had money from their parents. And then they funded some company like, Elon Musk and, other people as well that, had money that they got from their parents. But usually you gotta kind of get with some people, you know. You gotta get with a person or a group of people, and then those people kind of bring you in a group and team to kind of like self fund you in your projects, or you work with them and you make a massive amount of money, and then you use that money to kind of, build up whatever you're trying to build up. That's usually kind of how that works. It's kind of hard when you're trying to scale. It's possible when you're trying to scale from zero to, or, as high as we possibly can go. That's where it becomes very, very difficult. But it takes habits that, like you say, that will get you to that point. Like you'd have to have certain habits and behaviors in order to get to that point, and that's where it becomes challenging. And when I say that, I'm even saying for myself, it's
Right.
challenging to do something day in and day out, um, with little funding, or
I
even no funding. It's very, very difficult.
I hear you.
But you kind of have to find a way. That's why business is so difficult. It's one of the hardest things that people will ordeal,
Right.
because you just dealing with a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts, and you just got to build that. You got to build momentum from
Lot,
nothing.
a lot
Yeah,
of moving parts, a lot of shifting outcomes too.
right.
Like it's just a lot, bro. But I'm gonna get some rest, bro. It's like 2 in the morning,
Okay.
so
Okay.
Our family just wanted to kind of, you know, big up you and all this other kind of stuff, bro. Like, look, we listening to you now, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
doing your thing, boss.
Okay.
All
I
right, brother.
appreciate it.
Be good.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Iori, man. He always provide some good commentary to provide. You know, I did speaking of, you know, people listening and stuff, man, I did a video with Alonzo Hall, man. That joint just took off, man. It's like, damn. I mean, I was going. I mean, I had, I felt compelled to talk about Diddy, and the reason, I think the reason why, I mean, I ain't gonna cap, man, and a lot of people, obviously, you listen to Biggie Smalls. If you was born in the '80s, you done listen to the motherfucking Bad Boy Entertainment. You know what I'm saying? You don't li- you know you know what I'm saying? I will say this. I wasn't no P. Diddy fan like that. Like, as far as um I thought P. Diddy, I did not take P. Diddy serious as a rapper. Okay. I think that, he probably most likely was a good producer for sure, but I didn't necessarily think he was a highly skilled rapper.
And no Diddy. You understand what I'm saying?
But I do remember very, very clearly, that people went and bought P. Diddy albums, because P. Diddy had a whole bunch of albums. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he had, I don't know how many, but I know cats that was P. It was cats, man. They probably quiet now, but they definitely was fans of P. Diddy the artist. And of course, I mean, it just wasn't him. He had all of his people on his record company, from his record company, and other artists, on the albums. And then now you gotta speculate, now that we know what's going on, with this lawsuit, and then all these parties, and alleged videotapes that, some of them artists probably was at them parties.
And no Diddy. You understand what I'm saying?
So, it's like, yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people, man, I mean, they ran the airwaves in the mid 90s to late 90s, early 2000s. And even you would say post Biggie, like outside of Biggie, Diddy was able to come up with artists like Shine, and Black Rob, and I mean, obviously Mace, and they were still running hits, and playing on the radio, while even the Death Row was declining. Tupac died, Dre left, and then Snoop Dogg left, and then that was it. It was no more Death Row as you know it, and Diddy and all of his deviancy, and all of that shit. He was still going, with the Bad Boy Entertainment, man, with all them new acts and everything like that. So everybody was listening to that shit, man. Damn near, they was listening to that shit, man. Take that, take that. You know, Bad Boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we was listening to that shit, man. And it just kind of like, it's kind of embarrassing, because I ain't gonna lie, a lot of the people that I was listening to, you find out they were like, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like these kind of sexual deviants and possibly even, you know, homosexuals. He like, you're not proud to claim these people that you listen to. Like, you just not, you know what I'm saying? Like, even some of these people might even be your favorite artists. And you find out basically these guys are basically bi at best. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? What the fuck? What, you can't really, you can't do nothing about it.
This is the worst.
And that there you go. It's like now you now you gotta motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, just omit that shit from. You gotta be like, it's either, I don't know, man. I mean, what do you do? Like, okay, we all know about now. Like okay, I'll just speak for myself. When I was a kid, I had fucking no idea about I didn't know who a gay people was until the late 80s. It was a white dude that lived with his mama that had a gay boyfriend that was walking the street, and he lived on a block where there was a corner store. It was a corner store about a block away from my house where I grew up basically in Dalton, Illinois. And he was living there with I knew he lived with his mama, because I mean he looked like an eyeball. And he was like one of them guys that he stayed with his parents, and he was just kind of delayed in cultivation, or whatever you want to call it, or you know what I'm saying, just stayed home and stayed with his parents. And I saw a dude walking down the street, man, with a dude holding his hand, and then he kissed the dude. And that was my first time. I was like about 8 years old. And I was like, I was 8 or 9 years old, and that was my first time seeing a gay dude. And I was,
What?
Pause.
yeah. And that's what the fuck I did. I was like, what the fuck is this? Because I never saw that shit. I never saw that. I never saw that behavior before. I never saw two men kissing each other. It's just not like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, that was when I first saw that shit. And I was like, okay, this is some weird shit. It was just like, okay, this is some weird shit right here. And then, it's like, okay, that was my first time seeing it. But it's like, playing Luther Vandross, my mother playing Luther Vandross in the car. I ain't know the tea and gossip. I'm 8 years old, 7 years old, 6, whatever, 9, 10. I ain't know anything about no Luther Vandross and what they do behind closed doors. None of them. I ain't know nothing about no, like, musicians that my mama listened to, that were close to my mother's age. You know what I'm saying, older people that sung songs. Even rappers. I ain't know anything about what they did behind closed doors. Okay, they ain't know nothing about it. So when Luther was singing these songs, right, I didn't know he was gay. I didn't even know what a gay man was. I had no idea. My mama probably knew, but I didn't know anything about what Luther was, a gay dude that used to sing real good. Like I had no idea until I got older. Like I ain't gonna even lie. I was much older by the time I found out Luther Vandross was gay. I probably was in my mid-20s or early 20s. Might even been my late 20s by the time I found out Luther Vandross was gay. I didn't even know. I mean, like, I think a lot of people kept that shit in, they used to say they kept that in the closet. They didn't come out the closet. Like that was what they kept in private. It wasn't like the 80s and the 90s was not like now. People being flamboyant, being all out in the open, wearing rainbow this and rainbow that and all this other shit. Like that wasn't like that in the 80s and 90s. The gay people was really private, and the older people knew what was going on, but the younger people didn't know who the hell was gay and who wasn't. They didn't know that shit. It wasn't like, the Pandora's box wasn't open like that, like it is now. Like, everybody, talking about how gay they are. Obviously you got internet, you got the social media, you got everything is wide open. The social media is the fucking, in my opinion, the Pandora's box. But that's a whole nother story. But the thing is that, yeah, I didn't know that Luther Vandross was gay. I thought it was good music. I mean, obviously it was I think it was like high quality music, a lot of the music I listen to now from time to time, my mother used to listen to, riding, you riding in the car with your parents and the radio playing, you remember some of those songs, some of those artists, a lot of them, probably not even, alive anymore, but yeah, I didn't know Luther was gay. Like I ain't know that shit. I ain't even, like I said, I ain't even know what a gay man was until like I probably was like 9 or 10 years old, man. That was just, let's say I was just sheltered, I don't know. But the thing is that I say all of that to say, do we throw the artist all the way in the trash can because he's a fruit cup? And that's the, still today, people play Luther Vandross, right? And they don't turn Luther off. They don't be like, oh, Luther on, I'm gonna turn the radio. At least I don't know. I mean, most of the time, that's not my, I don't see people doing that. People don't do that. People don't even, I mean, even, the song come on, Benny and the Jets. Same. Had no idea. I knew who God damn, fuck, I just forgot his name, man. Damn. The guy that wrote Rocket Man and Benny and the Jets. I ain't know dude was fucking gay. Same, no different than I didn't know Luther Vandross was gay. I didn't know dude was gay. I forgot his name, man. He's still alive, I believe. Shit. Let me see. Elton John. I ain't know Elton John was gay. I had no fucking idea. But they still play Rocket Man and shit on commercials. They play Benny and the Jets and shit. They don't turn that shit off. So I'm like, okay, I'm saying like, okay, all of these, because Elton John and Luther Vandross, I mean, as far as I know, they weren't bi. They were, straight, straight gay dudes. So you got a lot of dudes. I shouldn't be laughing, but you got a lot of dudes that's bi. Like they into men and women, And I'm not gonna say no names. Not gonna say no motherfucking names, man.
And no Diddy. You understand what I'm saying?
So you got a lot of these bad dudes, right? Now, do you throw your whole music catalog in the garbage? I mean, now that these guys, man, they forced to come out of closet by various, ways and whatnot. They're not gay, like straight gay, like like a Elton John or a fucking Luther Vandross. They in the men and women, obviously. They know they more vocal about them being in the women, but they secretly in the men. Do you give them the same? The question is, do you give them the same admiration that you do Elton John and Luther Vandross? You know what I'm saying? That's the question. What is the answer? Because it's a whole bunch of motherfuckers that's bi, right? Or allegedly they bi. Even they say R. Kelly. R. Kelly might be, on the down low, down low, down low. Nobody's got to know. Like they saying dude might be, I mean, he even, might be, there's a whole bunch of dudes that's probably bi, right? Do you keep listening to their music? You give them the same admiration as, a house is not a home. You know what I'm saying? Benny and the Jets. You give them the same admiration. I mean, you give them the same type of, support. Are you okay if R. Kelly got out of jail, right? Is he gonna still be able to feel a concert like Elton John did, or does? Or when Luther was alive, will he still be able to feel a concert? Even knowing all of the deviant stuff he did or whatever. To me personally, I think that just like when R. Kelly was out of prison, he got a lot of support primarily from women, right? Women, crazy about R. Kelly. I think that would be the same if he got out of jail tomorrow. I think not that many, because the women will probably face a lot of social pressure. But I think some of those, quite a bit of those women are gonna still go to that R. Kelly concert. If let's just say, he was, out of prison. I don't know, but I mean that's some questions that I don't know, man, because it's a lot of people, man, that they was like, talking about they really love women and they got all these love songs and all of that type of shit, and they, secretly behind closed doors, they gay. They into dudes. They having sex with men. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of, I don't know, man. That's kind of tripped out, man. And some of these people might be your favorite singer, favorite even actor. You know what I'm saying? Do you still support these guys, man, or you just write them off, as people that shouldn't be supported? I don't know, man. That's a good question to ask, because I don't know, man. Me personally, it just I just kind of look at it like a side eye, like, you know, what the, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of strange. But I don't know, man. I mean, you know, Elton John, man, he probably, I think he, I bet Elton John is on tour right now, or he got some tour dates, and they gonna be, man. Elton John could be at the fucking Hard Rock Cafe. You know what I'm saying?
Pause.
And I bet you it'll be a line around the corner for them going to go see Elton John and all of his fabulousness and all of that. You know, they'll be out the corner trying to go see Elton John with Elton John shirts on and everything. You know, but I will say, white people are more accepting of the gay community than black people are. Black people are still, you know, it's not accepting. We're not that as accepting as white people are of you know, people that are, you know, quote unquote LGBT or whatever. We just historically we just haven't been that accepting of those people, and I think that's primarily why a lot of black men don't come out of the closet. Even black women, you know, it's a lot of black women that are you know, gay. You know, it's more accepting for, I would say, in the black community for women to be gay. So much so that black women that are gay are not stigmatized whatsoever. Kind of made fun of a little bit, but not stigmatized whatsoever. As far as like, okay, for example, if you think I'm lying, okay, just look at just what black women do as far as the word gay. Black women weaponize the word gay towards men, primarily, you know, black men. But that word towards black women is not weaponized whatsoever. The closest to that is that African dude in Uganda that just basically is like, why are you gay? I mean, like that's the closest, you know, as far as, and that was just basically comedy. That was pure comedy, you know. So it wasn't even like, you know, any type of harshness at all. When black women use that gay word towards men, it is absolutely 100% used to be harsh, you know, something to be, you know, even fighting words to be exact. Like, so as to say, okay, you're, you know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's something that, you know, is like a slur, something that's harsh, or quote unquote supposed to be harsh, and that's why they say it. You know, and it's like, okay, well, you know, some people say it's a double standard, but I mean that, you know, it's still true. That's what they do. That's what they use. They use that word. Even a woman probably is gay herself, because a lot of women have, you know, lesbian experiences with women. They'll still use that word because it's such a harsh word to use, I guess, or weaponized word. They'll use it towards, you know, other black men, even them being gay themselves. Even a gay woman will use that word towards, you know, other black men, and she could even be gay herself. You know, and that's just how that is. That's the double standard with that. But you know, the black community overall is more conservative to the point where, yeah, it's not accepted as you know, like I say, the white community. Even I would even say the Hispanic community is not really acceptance of that. It's probably more accepting than the black community, quote unquote. But you know, both of those cultures, the black community, in the Hispanic community is more of a machismo type of culture with I'm macho. I got women. I even got more than one woman. I'm macho. Hear me roar. You know, being gay is not macho, quote unquote, technically. So, it's not accepted. You know, I think white people have a very much a culture that is a long tradition of a lot of men being homosexual and even women being homosexual, and it's just more they're just more accepting of that, or it's more of a indoctrination or something into that. I'm not gonna go into the weeds with that because I ain't gonna lie, those weeds are kind of scary, because white people do have a high rate of pedophilia and also incest and rates of molestation. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of gets really murky when you start to go down that road, that type of kind of reality, because it's kind of like, you don't really want to. It's like you might want to applaud all of the things when it comes to being a white person. Let's just say you like white privilege and getting loans and preferences and all of that type of shit, and being, let's just even say it, being on top, but
Pause.
not like, but in a sense of being like, okay, like we're number one, type of deal, right? um but it's certain negatives when it comes to also that reality, because you have a higher rate in that community to be molested, a pedophile to come your way, and and also someone in your family practicing some type of incest towards you. So and they're quiet about it a lot of times. Not to say that other communities don't do that as well. I mean, African Americans definitely do the same shit, but it's not in that higher of a rate that in the white community. So it's like, yeah, I mean, you might, that white privilege, you might have some uncle touch you and shit, might have had some uncle or cousin try to, or maybe even have been successfully have been um basically sexually molested or even raped, so that's one of the things. It's like, you like, if you had to be grateful, one of the, it's a lot of things, it's pros and cons, right? But it's like, that's one of the cons, of that, of that reality. Unfortunately, you deal with that type of situation. It's like, it's like, oh, whoa, I don't want to be, I don't want to have to possibly get, I don't want this privilege, but I don't want to have to fucking get, I want Uncle Fester to, fucking, sodomize me for it, So it's like, it's pros and cons when it comes to that, type of, be careful what you wish for type of thing, And I mean, of course, you got people that don't support that. I remember I didn't really get heavy into Sons of Anarchy. I when I first really kind of got into Netflix, I binge watched a few episodes. I remember binge watching Spartacus and really later, a lot later, Breaking Bad. I was trying to get into Sons of Anarchy, but I remember like the first one or two episodes. And I think like one of those episodes, somebody came to the biker gang, and they were like, basically somebody molested somebody or whatever in the biker gang. They handle some business, basically. They, basically made sure that dude, never molested anybody or whatever, assaulted anybody again. They took care of it. Now, that is, something they do have, they will, kind of take care of that. But then, it's a lot of cases, man, I see where they give those, pedophiles a light sentence. Very, very light sentence, probation. I'll never forget. I was my personal story as far as me fighting a felony conviction. I remember going to court, and you got to understand when you go into a felony court, right? You think of everything this is why it's hard to get a job and all of this type of shit when it comes to like the word felonious and felon, right? Because felony means basically you did something that can give you basically a longer prison sentence, or you can go to prison. Basically, jail is basically a misdemeanor, right? But the felony, you could possibly go to prison, and the reason why is you did something that's kind of harsh, right? Well, a lot of times, as far as employers, they just put all felon, categories into one, right? They don't. It just don't. It don't. Even, if you got a felony, a lot of companies have a no felony policy. Well, not all of the felony. Like you can get, in Illinois, you can get a felony for just having a license plate sticker on your plate. Like you can, put a license plate sticker for one vehicle that's not yours, or it could be yours, and then put it on another car, and that's a felony, right? Or you could go 40 miles over the speed limit, and that could be considered a felony. So it's like it's a lot of felonies, but then you also got murder, which is a felony, and then you got also rape and molestation is a felony. Or at least I think. I'm pretty certain that it is, but I'm not 100%. But I think so. Pretty sure it is. But anyway, I was in court for, I'll just say it, I've said it before, I was in court for robbery. Okay. I mean, not armed robbery, but, strong arm robbery. So basically, that's, if you weigh that with, okay, I remember being in court and it was somebody in there for basically molestation. They molested a minor. So, okay, the weight of robbery versus molestation is mainly a molestation. Obviously, most people will be like, that's really, really high. Like this, that's pretty fucked up, right? Versus a robbery, yeah, it's fucked up, but it's not, I didn't rob a child or a baby, right? Or whatever. Like, molestation is pretty harsh, let's just say, versus that. But when it comes to the courts, I mean, you could get they probably, who knows what that dude got. He probably got like probation or some shit like that or whatever. I mean, he might have got it reduced. He might have got it thrown out. I don't know. But the thing is that, I remember there was some people in there for, basically rape against minors, molestation and shit like that, and it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like in Saudi Arabia, let's just say the way they deal with robbers, they cut the arm off. So me, I would, okay, say if I was in Saudi Arabia, I would be walking around, I'd have a missing limb, right? A missing hand or whatever. But a molester, they would be dead. They would be missing a life. on earth. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's but in this country, man, I will say I have noticed throughout my time that they are very light with molesters and child rapists, and so much so that it's some guys, man, it's like considered heroes. This one guy that he raped and killed his son. I think it was somewhere in Louisiana. That guy waited at a phone booth for the guy to walk past him, and he pulled his snub nose out and shot that dude in the head. And fortunately for him, I mean, he used some of his white privilege, I guess. I don't know, but that guy only got probation for that. That dude is considered a hero, man. That video is on all over, probably on YouTube. I think I even played it on my channel. I don't know. I probably did. I'm pretty sure I did. But I mean, that dude only got probation for that, So sometimes the court sides with the court of public opinion, and they, are lenient. But the thing is that a lot of times if you let the court handle the matter, the dude probably only would have got 20 years. I don't know. I mean, or no, he most likely would have got executed in Louisiana, but it would probably took him a long time to get executed. He would have, lived his whole damn near half of, probably took him 10 to 20 years to get executed after so many stays and all that other shit. He could have got a stay from the governor and got life in prison. So, that man said, I couldn't let the law handle this the way I didn't want to wait any longer, and he took that matter on his own hands. So I'm not gonna say all, they do a lot of times. Sometimes they handle matters, as I do. I ain't gonna lie. I kind of like that, because I don't I just don't. Once you got children, you definitely, if you didn't like molesters and child rapists before you had children, after you have children, you're going to not like them even more. It's going to start to take on a whole nother role of you not liking them. It's going to start getting really extreme. Like your level of not liking them is going to go to an extreme level for the most part. Maybe. I mean, I would say so. I don't, to each his own, but I definitely noticed that about myself. Like after I ain't like these guys or whatever, even women beforehand. But after having children, I mean that went up to an extreme level of my dislike. So but anyway, I've been all over the place. I pretty much kind of said my point, said my piece. And I'm gonna definitely do more of the discussion as far as the detailed, discussion on human competition. It's gonna probably take me some time. I don't know when. I'm not gonna give no promises of when. Just something that I'm going to probably do in the future. So, look out for that. So it's going to be very, very informal and good information to kind of add to kind of help you understand. It's not even even if I understand, like, because if you're like a hardcore, black militant, like, I mean, I get, I had moments, I ain't gonna lie, like I had moments where you probably could say that's how I was. I went through stages of enlightenment where, I probably was more kind of like that, but in different phases, I would say after that, I looked at things kind of more on a human level as far as we all human, and still had certain things that way I looked at things. That it was just like, oh man, but then it's people that just kind of test that theory, just kind of make you just really not really want to deal with white people, to be honest. But I'd have to say my progression as far as leaning more into it is understanding this idea of human competition. It explains a lot of what goes on in the world, and it's been going on for thousands and thousands and thousands, and if not millions of years. And it's human competition. Okay. um and you could even say animal competition, because quote unquote the term human comes from the word homo sapien, right? And homo sapien was one form of you know you could say homo erectus, some form of a caveman, basically evolution of human species, because you had homo sapiens, you had Neanderthals, you had different forms of human-like people, right? And then they all merged into one, right? Through interbreeding and shit like that, right? Um, it's like the thing is that all of what is going on as far as human actions, behaviors, a lot of what can be explained, whether is devilish, deviant, demonic, it's hurtful, painful, harsh, like war is, right? War is very, very harsh, brutal, savage, right? It's can be explained with human competition. And when you understand human competition, you understand the motives of why people do what they do, whether you like it or not. And when you and I'm just saying, like, from myself, when I look at it from the vantage of human competition, the things, whatever goes, good or bad, it makes sense. It kind of all makes sense like a puzzle, like this big giant puzzle on the table, the thousand pieces. It all makes sense. So I'm, definitely gonna be working on that. Um, so look out for that in the future. So yeah, I like I say, I mean, this whole sensitivity thing. I mean, the thing is this. I mean, this is kind of where this kind of goes. It just is what it is, because um it's definitely some weaknesses that you're telling me when you say that you can't, when you basically can't take criticism, and then you have some type of hang up or whatever sensitivity to, you could dish it out but you can't take it back.
You're automatically beta. Automatically you're beta. You're beta as